Alright guys, welcome. How are you? Time for another one of our Slant Alpha adventures and a little bit of a group flight going on tonight. So if it's not too late for you to run to your computer, boot up and spawn in, we are doing our own kind of tiny little version of VATSIM's First Wings series, which is their official sanctioned series of events that are geared toward new folks. But we're doing one that is a little bit more geared toward general aviation flying. So we're calling ours First GA Wings, and it's not an officially sanctioned VATSIM event, but whatever. Happy to put it together for you anyway, and it's a fairly small group that's flying along with us tonight. The total on the ramp, when last I checked, was 4, including myself. It's now 5. Okay, good. And I know of at least one more who said they were spawning in and going to fly along with us. So it may end up being 6. Yep, there it is. Yep, that's the 6th I was expecting. So 6 of us flying from Raleigh-Durham up to Norfolk International, and then from Norfolk up to Ocean City, Maryland. The first leg we're going to do at IFR. The second leg we're going to do at VFR. The tutorials over on the YouTube channel there at the bottom, link at the bottom left of your screen, were all geared toward these exact 2 flights, and I looked it up finally. I've been saying, hey, I think it was about a year and a half ago, and I kept forgetting to look it up. Yeah, it was almost exactly a year and a half ago. It was December 2019 when I first did these, the first version, the first iteration of this exact event from IFR from Raleigh to Norfolk, and then VFR from Norfolk to Ocean City. And those are the exact flights I used, intentionally so, in those tutorials that I put over on the channel, which were set up for knowing what to say to air traffic control, knowing how to put together an IFR route, knowing how to put together a VFR route. The one little issue that has come up is that the HERIC departure, the HERIC RNAV departure out of Raleigh-Durham has changed slightly. It was the HERIC 3 when I did that tutorial. It's now called the HERIC 4. So there's a minor change, and I'm flying the Raleigh 9 actually, because I'm going to do this non-RNAV, of course. Duh. But the HERIC did change slightly. We'll go ahead and look at that real quick. So if you filed HERIC 3 to Tar River, just know that that's not a current procedure anymore. It's now the HERIC 4, and for whatever reason, the HERIC 4 now stops at this point Febble. Well, guess what? Tar River VOR is just barely beyond it. So instead of filing HERIC 3 to, instead of doing this, HERIC 3 to PYI, pardon my terrible handwriting, you would file it as HERIC 4 to Febble, F-E-B-E-L, and then immediately your next point after that is TYI, and then the rest of the route, regardless, is the same as what was in that tutorial, which was then Cofield, and then the point called drone, and then the drone to arrival. So it's really just that minor change, 3 to 4, and then you insert this point Febble, because this is the point where that departure procedure now ends. So minor change since that tutorial was made, but the tutorial that's on the YouTube channel kind of goes through the process of pulling up all the arrivals and departures that are available at the airport, and then kind of going through and figuring out which ones are applicable to you, which ones go in the direction that you need them to go into, and all that. So anyway, like I was saying, this is basically what the route looks like. Now, for those of us flying non-RNAV, we're flying the Raleigh 1. It was the Raleigh 9. It's now updated, and so the revision number kind of just wraps around like a Pac-Man tunnel. It goes out the right end, comes in the left end. It's now the Raleigh 1, and that is Raleigh 1 with radar vectors to Tar River. Again, Tar River being one of the VORs that is on this generic vector departure where we're going to fly essentially runway heading until we get vectored out to go direct to the VOR. So nothing really changed with that, except it's called the Raleigh 1 rather than the Raleigh 9. And I think the only thing that really changed was the prop altitude. Used to say 2,000. I think it said props 2,000, and this says propeller aircraft only now. So it used to say props 2,000, jets 7,000, and now it says propellers only, and the altitude is as assigned. So some minor little updates that were made to this procedure, And other than that, it's mostly the same as what was in that tutorial. Al South MIA is here. Iowa Scotsman has checked in. We appreciate y'all being with us. Those of you who can't fly with us tonight, hopefully you'll still enjoy the flight based on being able to kind of spectate along. I'm going to go ahead and bring in, let's see if I can go ahead and connect in the Discord chat. Okay. And there we are. El Puru wants to join in. Are you spawned in at Raleigh Durham, El Puru? We're pretty much getting ready to go now. Let me go fire up the PC. All right, well, hurry up. We're getting ready. We got some folks sitting on the ramp that are all pretty much getting ready to go. So if you don't get there, that drift kit, it's actually the Hurricane 4 now. Hurricane 4 to Febel, F-E-B-E-L, and then Tar River. So not that much different. But
turboprops count as prop or jet in the restriction?
And friend to all says, do turboprops count as props or jets in the restriction? So I would think that this would generally be where it says props only. I would think a turboprop probably would not be able to file that. A turboprop probably should file the HERIC, but if you're a turboprop and you're non-RNAV, then you might have to just file, just generically radar vectors out to Tar River. We'll see if there's one of these other ones. What else do they have here? They have something else that goes eastbound. Yeah, so the Pac 9 turbojets only. Yeah, we'd have to kind of go through every single departure and see. But I think that you would have to be just a flat out propeller in order to file that route. All right, I'm going to get back into the airplane. The reason you're hearing so much engine noise is that we do have one of our friends that's kind of like right over here. That's getting ready to go and fly with us. So it was a little loud there as I was sitting outside the plane. Now that we're inside, it's a little bit more manageable there. Starflex says, bugger this, I'm just flying VFR. Yeah, that works also. I mean, there's no restriction that says you have to do this first leg IFR. It's just the way we set up the tutorial. So James Martin's here. James Martin's, I think, one of our controllers tonight. Taxi Via Zulu is here. Taxi Via Zulu is one of our ZDC controllers, but I don't know if he's controlling with us tonight, but pretty sure that James is. We did get the resubscription from friend all there just a few moments ago, and then we got the follow from Seal Titanium. Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate the support. We're going to go ahead and take care of those raffle tickets once we probably get airborne. A taxi it's not controlling right now, but might be monitored on IAD approach later on. Okay, very cool. Yeah, we're not going to make our way all the way up to Dulles, so we won't be talking to you either way. All right, so some of you are kind of ahead of the game, and you're getting your clearance from our tower controller, and you're getting ready to taxi out, and that is fine. If you want to do that now, that's fine. You don't have to wait for me. You can go ahead and do that. But in the meantime,
I think I'm going to get my clearances and taxi out to 23 left.
Yep, go ahead and do that. I'm just getting the plane fired up. So, but don't feel like you have to wait for me. I'm going to be kind of behind. So, fire away.
All right.
Okie doke. So we still have our normal airplane stuff to do. We're in this JPLogistics Cessna 152. I had hoped to fly the Mooney Ovation for you tonight. We're hoping to fly that for you on Friday, but that fuel selector issue that presented itself in Sim Update 5 still has not been rectified. So our fuel load for tonight is 184 pounds. Go ahead and set that. Let's get into the fuel menu here. We're going to set... oh, wait a minute. That might be too much. Yeah, the best we can do is... best we can do is about 170. 160. Not quite 160 pounds. So, all right, well, let's see. Maybe if I take some alternate planning out of my... Let's see. Yeah, there we go. 156. All right, 100. Okay, there we are. All right, so took up some of my alternate planning out. So the reserve fuel that would get us to Ocean City after Norfolk is going to end up being our reserve fuel for our arrival into Norfolk. So we've got plenty of fuel. We're going to, yeah, the loading is fine like it is. Pretty fully loaded here in that Cessna 152. It's not that heavy a plane, but doesn't carry too much of a payload. Yeah, we might have to coast the rest of the way on down. Yeah, we'll have plenty of altitude. Starflex says, I'm working on a 3D printed Piper throttle today, so can't fly, unfortunately. Oh, come on, man. Doing a tractor brake for a Piper flap lever and a trim wheel, which is already set up for the Archer. That's cool, man. I'm very envious of those of you who are handy like that you can kind of build your own stuff. I just have to go out and buy it. All right, parking brake is set. Switches are off. We can go ahead and get the doors closed. We do not have Miss Freckles flying with us tonight. It's just going to be me, myself, and I here. We'll get our doors closed. The battery switch is on. Get the nav and beacon lights on. There they are. Get the fuel selector on. At least in this plane that works, the fuel selector. We're going to mix and go full rich. Actually, we'll keep the mix and throttle in as we prime it. Alright, and then we'll throw the mix in as we start it.
What altitude you gonna be aiming?
I'm found 7. Alright, magnetos both.
7
Prop
now?
area is clear. A-frame.
Alright.
Start her up. Get the mix in as it fires. Okay. Alright, well that worked a little bit better than it did last time. And I think what I was doing last time that I messed up was I didn't have the throttle open while I was priming the engine, which was kind of a duh on my part. Alright, so we got it fired up. Let's go ahead and get the alternator on. Oil pressure did indeed come up right away. It's a little bit low on the low side, but it's there. The radios can all be turned on. You see the needles go through there. Start sequences. Alternator booted up on already. I mean, alternator. Transponder booted up on already. That's fine. And everything else there's good. We'll power up our DME box. I always forget to put in throttle while priming too. Maybe that's why I can't start the Warrior, says Starflex. Yeah, I think I figured that out after last time trying to start this thing. And I got to change my checklist too. The start sequence is a little bit more realistic now in this thing than it used to be, and I haven't updated my checklist, so that's why I'm kind of stumbling through and kind of doing stuff out of order. But I think we're good now. We got 1,000 RPMs in, and we can see that the alternator light is out over there, so I think we are good. That means we are supplying electricity to the aircraft here from the engine now. I have not sent the flight plan yet. I was kind of scrambling around to get ready for the stream, so I didn't get a chance to do that. So we will go, and we're going to go IFR for this first leg. KRDU to KORF. We did file an alternate of Richmond. Hopefully we won't need that. I'm going to say 23:40 will be our wheels up time. En route time for this first flight, an hour 36. We got 354 on board. Cruise speed is about 110, and I'm filing 7,000. And we're going to knock that comment out because I'm simulating live weather, even though there's a possibility we're running into some weather further north and east, and we'll show you that here on the map here in just a moment. There is our route. I'm doing this non-RNAV, so if we were doing this RNAV, it would look like slightly different. It would be the Herrick 4, and then Febel, F-E-B-E-L, and then Tar River, and then Cofield drone, and then the drone 2. And then you'd have to switch this to Golf because that would indicate that you are RNAV capable. You do have some sort of a GPS in the plane. Slant Alpha, as we have talked about on this channel, means we are not RNAV capable. We do not have any kind of GPS or ability to find GPS points. So in this plane, we're going to take that out. We're going to fly the Raleigh 1, radar vectors to Tara River, and then Cofield, and then drone, and then the drone 2. The drone 2 arrival into Norfolk is navigable whether you're RNAV or not. So good thing about that is that part of it doesn't change in this instance. So that should be good. I think we'll go ahead and file that then. Get that out of the way. Let's see.
Alright, I'm fully ready, and I'll wait for you to be ready.
No problem. I won't be long. We are going to check in with our tower 127.45. 745. And then we can already see that our departure frequency is going to be 124.905. So we'll go ahead and
runway 23 right for departure. Altimeter 3009er.
124.905.
23 right for departure, and we'll call you when ready. 300 and altimeter number 220 Lima.
124.95.
56. Crossing I to Philly. I have info, Charlie.
Delta 56.
Alright, let's.
Request standby number 2. Break.
Last
Canadian Express.
thing we're going to do here is come over here and we're going to check our ATIS. I just do that by text. It is information Charlie. 250 at 7, so we're going to be launching on the 23s, I believe.
On departure.
Temperature's 3-1. Nice warm day down here at Raleigh. 3009 is the altimeter. There's visual approaches 23 right and 23 left. There's our friend Crixel. Okay, and information Charlie. All right, 3009er is what they said. All right, let's go ahead and get that set here. And let's just double check the field elevation. Field elevation at Raleigh is 435 feet. Oh, we're showing almost exactly that. That's good. So that means our weather simulation's working, in addition to the fact that our altimeter is not out of calibration. Okay, good. All right, let's we set the flight plan. We checked the ATIS, set the altimeter. Field elevation is confirmed. We are heading on a 043, it looks like. Let's just double check our directional gyro. Oh, let's double check because it looks like it's off by a few degrees. 03, 04. Yeah, we're about a 043. So let's
Delta Lima, runway 23 right.
Go ahead, and there's 4. There's about a 4-3, and I'm going to set the heading bug to 2-3. What is the actual heading?
24.905 Canadian.
According to the Raleigh 9, the heading to fly is 234. So
Ready to copy Delta 56.
Delta 56.
1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 235. There's 234 right there.
Transition that is filed.
All right, I think we're ready to El Puru. Okay, yeah, we're on the General Aviation ramp here on the right off of 23 left at Raleigh Durham. So yeah, feel free to jump on in. If you are,
Cleared to Philadelphia Airport.
if you want to join in on the Discord voice channel, go ahead and jump into our Discord. Invite links on the lower right-hand side, and then give me a shout in the stream chat. And I'll
climb maintain 7,000 average departure. Expect 370.
And I'll get you access to that voice channel if you want it.
Departure frequency is 124.995. Squawk is 6570. Delta 56.
All right, we got Kansas Bama that hit the follow. We got that Drift Kid with the follow. Very good, guys. We got Good Fixins that is checked in.
Delta 56, read back correct. Advise ready to push. Expect runway 23 right for departure. Altimeter 3009er.
Downwind Sim checked in earlier. Hey, how are you?
Departure, thank you. Delta 56.
All right, and let's get our...
And November 220 Lima, I got your final cruise altitude wrong. It's actually 290. So you can expect that.
Comm radios are set. Let's go ahead and get our IFR clearance here.
Flight level 290, 10 minutes.
Just about ready to go, but let's go ahead and get our IFR clearance. Got to get our squawk code dialed in.
November 220 Lima.
As soon as they finish up that conversation.
Wind is 250 at 7. On departure, fly heading 270.
While we're waiting to get a word in, we pretty much know that we're going to be radar vectors to Tar River, so 117.8. Going to go ahead and get that dialed into the COM 1, on the nav 1 rather. 117.8. All right, here might be our chance. Raleigh Tower, Cessna 514 Delta Victor, with information Charlie, IFR to Norfolk. All right, then after Tar River,
Cessna 514 Delta
Cofield
Victor,
114.6.
cleared to the Norfolk Airport, Raleigh 1, departure, Tar River transition, then is filed. Maintain 2,000, expect 7,000 in 10 minutes. Departure 124.95, squawk 6516.
All right, cleared to Norfolk. Raleigh 1 departure, radar vectors Tar River, that is file. Will maintain 2,000, expecting 7,010, 124.95, and 6516, 5-4 Delta Victor.
514 Delta Victor, read back correct, advise ready to taxi. Expect runway 23 left for departure, altimeter 3009er.
All right, 3009er, we'll call in a few for 23 left, 5-4 Delta Victor, thanks. All right. Let us see if there's anything else I missed. So like I was saying, we know that our first step is Tar River 117.8 and then Cofield 114.6. So I got 117.8 in the nav 1. I got
So you're doing the Oxford 4 Carmel now?
14.6 will be in the nav 1 standby. We're not yet receiving Tar River, but we know it's more or less eastbound, so I'm going to spin this around until it's eastbound-ish, and then when we get clear direct to it, all we got to do is just center it up and fly whatever we wind up on.
Oxford 4 Carmel, and then it'll be from Carmel direct to Fox.
Yeah, Terps Flask. I wasn't going to make a big deal out of that, but I've read it back the way I knew it should be, so we're all good. Yeah, it's technically not Raleigh 1 departure Tar River transition. It's technically Raleigh 1 departure radar vectors Tar River. So little minor phraseology issue there, but not a big deal. Not a big deal.
220 Lima, contact departure 124.9.
Yeah, Terps Flask simulation is our tower controller here. So there we go. Thank you very much for being on, man. We appreciate it. All right, back over to the checklist. Let me see if there's anything else I need to do before we go. Yeah, go ahead. I'll be right behind you. Nav 80th tuner set flaps. We can go and check our flaps.
Standby one. I'm just going to send
just make sure they are operable.
Real quick, and then we can work out the ARAC issue.
Everything else in the. All right, flaps are working. Let's go ahead and set takeoff.
Durham Tower, 5-4 Alpha Fox is ready to taxi.
There we are. 10 for takeoff. Trim is set. We'll go ahead and get our taxi lights on. Road temp's good. All right, let's look at our taxi routing real quick. It should be fairly straightforward.
Number 504 Alpha Foxtrot, runway 23
but
left.
23 left is where we're going.
Juliet 2, Alpha,
and
Alpha
we're
7,
here.
and squawk and mode
Yeah, so
Charlie,
he's going to be Juliet 2, Alpha, Alpha 7 is what the aircraft ahead was just given. So I assume we'll be given something real similar to that.
Yeah, we'll switch our transponder over to mode Charlie and taxi runway 22 left via the Juliet 2, Alpha, Alpha 7, 4 Alpha Fox.
And Crixel says you'll pick up Tar River past 2,500 or so. All right, very cool. Thank you for that. Yeah, I would not going to need that until we get radar vectors to it, so all good.
Papa Romeo Foxtrot Delta, I've got you 5x5 at Raleigh Tower.
Parking brake is off. We are ready to taxi. We will let them know.
Affirmative 5x5. Thank you.
Entire Cessna 514 Delta Victor information. Charlie, we're ready to taxi.
So Cessna 514 Delta Victor, runway 23 left, taxi via Juliet 2 Alpha Alpha 7, caution the aircraft in front of you taxiing out as well.
Alright, Juliet 2 Alpha Alpha 7 will give way to the aircraft ahead, 5 Delta Victor. Alright, there's our friend going now. Yeah, Taylor, right, yeah.
Delta 56.
We'll
So
we'll put one on the training sheet for him.
In your departure there.
Stand by.
Alright, it's good that we got the same taxi routing, because makes
Yeah,
it
that's
easy. Just
me.
follow
Alright,
that.
so I have the
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Oxford for departure. Then it goes to a Carmel transition, then direct to Suck.
Direct to
Direct
suck,
where?
huh? Direct to suck. You heard him.
November 504 Alpha Fox, wind 2507.
Yeah,
On departure, fly
the time out there,
heading
Terps is
120, runway 23 left,
is 2
clear
minutes.
takeoff.
So I know exactly what you said there, but
Fly heading 120
you're still okay in my book, man. It's just a 2 minutes. Just a 2-minute timeout. And yeah, we try to keep the language family friendly. Sometimes the bot's a little aggressive.
Tower, this
So-
is Papa Foxtrot Romeo Delta 2513.
Apologies for that.
Requesting taxi.
Oh, good fixing's untimed you
Time is
out.
up,
Yeah, there you go. Thank you, man.
Roger
Yeah,
that,
I didn't-
no
obviously I
worries.
didn't see what was said.
Romeo Foxtrot Delta, give me a call when you're ready. Break Delta 56. I've got your flight plan amended here,
Alright, so there is
so
our
you should be good to go. Just give me a call.
old
when you're
short
ready to
line.
push.
Roger that. Thank you so much.
You did say a banned word? Okay. Was it Steelers?
Cessna 514 Delta Victor, runway 23 left, line up and wait.
Alright, 23 left, line up and wait. 5-4 Delta Victor. Alright, we will need to... We'll need to do a brief run-up, but we can
Good evening, Tower. November 2243 on the
do that in
TA
position.
ramp with information Charlie. Requesting
Landing lights on,
IR2.
taxi light off, pitot heat on, strobe lights on.
Number 504 Alpha Fox, contact
Alright, hit the
departure
brakes. Let's take the
124.95. See ya.
RPMs up to 20.
Contact departure on 124.95. See ya, 4 Alpha Fox.
Mags down to the left. Okay, we got some loss in RPM, but we'll go back to both. And it recovers, and mags down now to the right. We got some loss in RPMs, but not
And number
much.
2243,
And go
you
back
are
to
clear
both.
to the Norfolk Airport, here for departure.
And they come back up, so we are good. We are ready.
Zenith filed. Maintain 2,000.
Let's go ahead and get the windows closed.
Expect 5,010 minutes after departure. Departure on 124.95, squawk 6550.
Cleared to Norfolk.
Okay, get the
on
pitot
the
heat off.
04 people transition.
Because it looks
climb
like
to
our plane was
2,000,
kind of struggling to maintain
5,000,
amperage
10
there.
minutes after. Departure 124.905, squawk 6550.
We'll hold the landing lights until we get our takeoff clearance.
Number 2243, read back correct, device ready to taxi. Expect runway 23 left for departure, altimeter 3009er.
Altimeter 3009er, and we'll call you when we're ready to taxi to 23 left, November 2243.
Rob Valkyrie is here.
Cessna 514 Delta Victor, wind 2507, on departure fly heading 160. Runway 23 left, clear for takeoff.
Alright, clear for takeoff 23 left, heading 160, 54 Delta Victor. Alright, heading bug reset.
November 5.
Temps and pressure's looking good. And we'll go ahead and set our takeoff power.
Delta 56, verify you are squawking 6570 and mode Charlie.
26 hour right now.
Get up to about 60 knots. Rotate it. tap the brakes.
Thanks, Delta 56. Delta 56, roger, thank you. I've got
Field was just about 400, so as soon as we get to 800, we'll get the flaps in. We'll go ahead and turn on course, which is at 160. I said I was going to turn the landing lights back on when I got my takeoff clearance, but now that we're airborne, I'll just go ahead and turn those off.
Taxi to 23 right via Foxtrot, Bravo 9.
Roger, sorry about that. Yeah, push and start approved. You can
All
call
right,
me
there's
when you're ready for
400.
taxi,
We'll go ahead and
and
get
I
the
can do
flaps
same
in.
thing, or you can just go. It's okay with me. Nobody else is ahead of you.
And
Roger,
so we'll
thank you.
go ahead and start that left turn there to
Delta
160.
504 Delta Victor, contact departure 124.95. See ya.
All right, 2495, 5 for Delta Victor, see it. Swap it in. All right, roll out on that 160. Pitch down, get the airspeed up just a little bit. We'll see if we can climb at about 70 knots. Yeah, okay, yeah, we're good at 70 knots. Remember, we're maintaining 2,000 until we're allowed higher. 2,000 was our initial. Raleigh departure, Cessna 514 Delta Victor, 1,400 going to 2.
Cessna 514 Delta Victor, Raleigh departure, radar contact. Turn right, so turn left heading 090, climb and maintain 7,000.
All right, 090 and 7,000, 5 for Delta Victor.
And Cessna 514 Delta Victor, when able, proceed direct Tango Yankee India.
All right, direct to Tar River VOR when able. We are receiving that now, so we'll be direct now, 5 for Delta Victor.
Thank you.
All right, we're just, looks like it's, so you can see up here, it's in. We're gonna turn that until it centers, and it's centering just left of east. So then we'll set the heading bug to that, and that's what we'll fly. Always.
Nice. I did that on my flight training the other day, so that was cool trying to figure that out.
The bot's feeling squirrely tonight. Of course, Starflies is always going to pop in here and try and subvert it. Yeah, so what was that? There was a big message earlier Robert W. Jr. was asking. He says, Delta 384 is with you at flight level 360, 10 miles from whatever intersection for whatever airport. Yeah, so that full position report that you gave at the end there, Robert, is definitely for non-radar. So that if you're flying like over an ocean, or if you're flying through like a big area where there's not radar coverage, then you'd have to give that full report that you texted there at the end. But the check-in with a controller, it's really even simpler than what you did. The check-in with a controller is simply, if you got handed off to the controller, then it's simply your call sign and your altitude. Like you heard me do, I was through 1,400 going to 2,000. So if your altitude includes the altitude that you're passing and the altitude that you're headed to. So what we call your target, your current altitude and your target altitude. The only time you have to add a position is if you are checking in with a controller that you were not handed off to by someone else. Like if you're checking in with a controller that you were coming from uncontrolled airspace or unstaffed airspace. Then you just have to give a position, and I wouldn't give it to an intersection. I would give it to a VOR, some major intersection, something that the controller will obviously know where it is on their scope without having to look it up. So, 10 miles north of such and such airport, or 10 miles north of such and such VOR. But you really just have to give your call sign, or their call sign, your call sign. So, Chicago Center, Cessna 514 Delta Victor. And you give your current altitude and your current position, 10 miles west of O'Hare, 8,000. that's it. We had some discussion about the pronunciation of Norfolk.
Alpha Foxtrot, contact Washington 13372. Have a good flight.
Contact Washington on 13372, 504 Alpha Fox.
I missed a whole bunch of the... Yeah, I'm missing a whole bunch of stuff in the chat, guys. But, Starflies is willing to take a timeout for the team. Got the host there from, with a grade there from Granite Sky. Thank you very much, Granite Sky. Appreciate you joining us. Starflies, yeah, with you, 1.5 for 5 in the box with the flash. Yeah, with the flash is a pet peeve of mine. In the box, if your squawk code is in the box, that's one that annoys me.
Who's in the box? What's in the box? What's in the box?
Turn those up a little bit. On the dial? I don't know if I've heard that one. And Taylor says, I hate with the flash, and also when you ident without being told to, it doesn't count. You just have to say ident again. Yeah, exactly. We call it the cool guy pilot lingo, and I try to avoid it. I do try to avoid it. 2992 on the dial? Oh, I haven't heard that one. Yeah, let me hit it again. It was a little bit low volume. Starfly says it's the first time I've heard your 7 sound effect for that. Yeah, it was a little bit low. Here's.
Who's in the box?
Oh, it's still too low.
What's in the box?
Yeah, still a little too quiet. I'll have to adjust that one upward. Yeah, it's a little easier to hear that one when I'm controlling it. I don't have the engine noise. But yeah, that's one of my pet peeves. On the fish finder is another one. Yeah, that's a that's another one, right? Not only is it flat out annoying phraseology, but it doesn't help you when you're asking for visual separation, right? So that one's twofold. That one's twofold.
Departure November 2243, flying heading 120 at 13,000, climbing for 2,000.
November 2243, Raleigh departure, radar contact, proceed direct streamy, climb and maintain 5,000.
Direct streaming, climb and maintain 5,000, November 2243.
I got him in sight on the fish finder. No, that's not how that works. Can we all agree that Ader is hilarious, though? Yes. Yeah, that and the funny thing is about that clip, Good Fixins, is it was a gentleman that was on one of our air traffic control streams reading back a clearance, and it was part of his departure frequency was, had it. I think it was 119.85, and he just got himself tripped up and said something like 119.8 or 5 or something like that. I can't remember how he tripped himself up. As soon as it came out of his mouth, though, he realized he sounded foolish and he laughed at himself, which I think is great. If you're going to make a mistake, just laugh it off and shake it off. He could have really kind of gotten embarrassed and unkeyed the mic and gotten flustered, but he straightened himself out and kept on going.
Delta Victor, contact Washington 13372. Have a good flight.
All right, 3372, 5-4 Delta Victor. We'll see it. Yeah, so he knew as soon as he said it that it was silly, and he laughed at himself as he corrected himself.
American 1645 with you 135.
So I'm all for it. Heck, man, if you're gonna goof up right.
1645, Raleigh Approach. Good evening. Let's have a descend via the Melner for arrival. Expect ILS 23 right.
X407 heavy.
You notice we're still slightly left of it east, and so I'm kind of drifting a little bit too left of east here. Left of east, and we're still going up to 7,000, so we're still climbing away as best we can. I might try and lean the mix out just a touch. See if we can get a couple extra RPMs out of it.
November 220 Lima. Can I step away just 3 minutes?
220 lane approved as requested. Advise back.
Roger, we'll call you back.
Yeah, so just trying to lean it just a touch until we see the RPMs pick up just a little bit.
Checking in at 10,000.
Yeah, we've heard a lot of checking in at and a lot of with you tonight. You don't need to say those things, guys. It's extra unnecessary words.
214 Washington Center, squawk 05.
Traffic at straight o'clock.
0567.
I haven't heard that one either.
23 Delta Alpha, descend maintain 6,000.
9588 Delta. Oh my God, the 5er is the worst because the whole point of saying 9er is so that it doesn't sound like 5.
November 183 Delta Alpha, gliding 240, descend maintain 6,000. Active visual approach runway 22.
SJ Fly got his Logitech radio panel today. That's awesome.
So we're gonna hit some
Traffic straight o'clock. That's cute.
yellow on our way in.
Yeah, we had a good laugh, Taylor, about Ader a couple days ago. We had a good series of laughs. That joke kept coming back. That joke wouldn't die.
Just say your call sign and then
Hang on, I'm having trouble hearing that Discord.
So like DC Center, your call sign.
Center Cessna 514 Delta Victor 6,300 going to 7,000.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, what was that?
Heading 180 and 180 on the speed.
Oops.
514 Delta Victor Washington Center low, Raleigh altimeter 3009.
Alright, 3009 or 514 Delta Victor. Oops. Okay, now I've drifted off heading.
Southwest 906.
So I'm still headed directly toward Tar River, according to the VOR gauge up here, but it means I still need to be flying that heading there, which is slightly left of east. Looks like the needle is just a little bit left of center there, so now I'm going to correct just a little bit even left of east. Just until that needle recenters.
DC Center, November 2243 at 5,000 feet.
The distance is still 35 miles.
Charlie Romeo, contact land center 132.97.
32.97 for 546 Charlie Romeo, see.
Number 2243 Washington Center, roger.
Oh, of course, yeah. Rob Valkyrie brings up a good point. Rob says that we all need to send some prayers and best wishes for our friend Melvin Leroy. Melvin Leroy was in having shoulder surgery today. I haven't heard from him since to know whether it's all gone successfully so far, but spoke to him just before he went in, and everything. He was in good spirits. Hopefully everything went well for him. Rob says I was flying Brussels to Paris in the 20th anniversary event this afternoon. Talking to De Gaulle Approach, and he asked if I had the airport in sight. I said, I got my downwind sim binoculars out. He had no idea what I was talking about. No, they don't know me over there, man. The guys that were working Frankfurt on Monday night were really cool.
Well, boys and girls, I'm flying proof that monitoring your checklist is extremely important because I forgot to turn on my avionics master switch. And when I took off, I had no autopilot, and it took me about 5 minutes to figure out why.
Maintain 10,025 knots, the Dover altimeter 3002.
What do you need autopilot for?
So, 10,000.
Exactly, I'm flying with you. I'm not supposed to have it.
Dash 1025.
I gotta boost that
runway
audio. It's kind of
15
real
right,
low in my ear.
taxi
Hang on
via
one
Charlie
second.
Papa.
Why? What plane were you flying?
2653, runway 15 right, taxi via Tango Papa.
The Diamond DA62.
How on earth did you not notice your avionics were off? The screens would have been black.
No, they were on, actually.
Alright, so that should be a little bit better sound balance on that.
Washington Center, Charlie Foxtrot, Sierra Mike Papa. Can I get an expected runway for
Yeah, the electrical, there's an electrical
you'll get
master
that from
switch,
approach once you get
and
there.
that's what kicks the screens on.
Now that I'm looking at the airplane again,
23 Delta Alpha, 17 3000.
get back down to 7,000.
Huh, that's really weird.
Number 183 Delta Alpha,
can,
17 3000.
Pull it off the red line just a little bit.
American 2312, wind 18014, gust 19, runway 19.
I don't expect that I will be using autopilot today. I'm probably just going to hand fly this.
JetBlue 9 across Heckman at maintain 9.
Taylor's going in to work the tower. I presume he means the real tower, that actual real world tower, not our little pretend tower. Very good. Taylor, always appreciate you stopping by, man.
JetBlue 9er, cross Heckman at maintain 9000, Atlantic City, altimeter 3009er.
Good Fixin says, do you ever find that the best climb speed from the POH is a bit aggressive on some planes? We've got a couple that I'll be at climb power and best climb speed and rocketing up at 1,500 plus feet per minute. Seems too steep for a small GA plane. Yeah, and it's not maybe that the numbers are too aggressive, it's just that you might find imperfections in the simulation, Good Fixins.
183 Delta Alpha, Washington.
You know, it's not really easy to totally fine tune all those performance numbers and get the thing to fly exactly like it does in the book. So, I mean, it could also be a matter of of loading and weather conditions and stuff. There's different performance related factors, obviously, but yeah, I mean, generally it should be pretty close, and a lot of times, depending on the fidelity of the simulation, you'll find planes are underpowered or overpowered based on the numbers that are in the book. And SJ says a good old J3 is the best plane because you take off, climb, cruise, descend, approach, and land all at the same speed. Yeah, slow. It's got two speeds, slow and taxi. And they're not that far apart from each other. That's the fun, he says. Yeah, I like a plane that gets down the line a little bit quicker. I would have much preferred to fly the
2653
the Mooney. And I guess I could have flown the Mooney. I could have controlled lead to get it started. I could have just, artificially manipulated the fuel to move it from tank to tank. If I really wanted to, I could have done it. Might end up doing that on Friday.
Looking at the weather in Norfolk, we might even hit
Charlie Fox here, Mike Papa contact Charlie Approach 128.
Oh yeah, I meant to show that map too. I'll do that real quick. So we
I
just
think the views when we first seeing the map of Norfolk and all the way.
So long.
talking about the weather, guys. So this is our route from Raleigh to Norfolk, and so there were some weather returns. It looks like they've mostly moved off to the east. But there's some little pop-up storms coming. Just some little atmospheric instability. It looks like all the weather up north here have moved off. This is like way off to the north now. That's the remnants of Tropical Storm Fred up there that are heading up to the northeast. They grazed us here in the Baltimore region today. We didn't get it too bad, fortunately. But it looks like all the weather here in the Norfolk and then the weather that was kind of in between Norfolk and Ocean City looks like it's all kind of moving off now. So we should be okay, hopefully. Fingers crossed.
Dash 1025, runway 15 right, line up, wait.
Getting kicked around pretty good by some wind shifts, though.
Seeing a few pop storms in the Norfolk area, but pretty sure they won't come near the Norfolk.
Hang on 1 second, guys. Hang on 1 second.
Where are you currently?
Just over the Tango, Yankee, whatever this thing is.
Delta 56 Washington Center, hello. Delta 56, contact Raleigh Approach 124.905, they'll get you out of there.
They are currently getting off, so it's told by Tower to come to this frequency.
They're going to stay on a little longer. Just talk to them, and then I'll talk to you in a bit here.
Roger that.
Dash 1025, runway 15 right, clear for takeoff, wind 1507. South 2653, radar contacts, say altitude.
Passing 6,000, Southwest 2653.
South 2653, thank you, climb maintain flight level 400.
Climb maintain flight level 400, Southwest 2653.
Send our TV and ARTCC really low, we're only expecting to Dallas.
9220 Lima, the Dallas altimeter 3000, you can expect visual approach 19 left.
Visual approach 19 left, number 2, so let's check.
Just realized I was on pause for like a minute.
We're back with you, 09004-120.
Delta 56, there you are, Washington Center, climb maintain flight level 370.
Climb maintain flight level 370, thank you, Delta 36.
Air Force 2, Washington Center, hello, the Dover, or correction, the Atlantic City altimeter.
Alright, sorry guys, I'm back with you. I gotta kind of do one, I gotta check on one thing for work real quick, but I should be able to do it here on the computer while I am flying along. For a co-pilot, take the wheel. Right, now I was at the wheel, I was just here on the phone on a work call real quick. So I'm still kind of, you know, you can see this needle's deviated slightly to the right. So I'm going to steer a little bit right of that heading. And I'm about 80 feet too low, so I'm going to trim up and get back on 7,000. And we're 16.1 miles away from Tar River VOR. So still kind of progressing slowly but surely as we do in this plane.
Washington Center, Canadian Express 257, requesting 2 minutes away.
And let me see if I can...
Canadian Express 257, contact Norfolk Approach on 119.45, the Express Southbound.
Jump over to...
Norfolk 119.45, Canadian Express 257, thank you.
Just something I got to check on for work real quick while we're flying along. If I can.
Air Force 2, cross IROC, that maintain 9,000.
Alright, yeah, now I've overcorrected, so now I'm going to come back to the left. Alright, hang on 1 second, guys. Did that take? Yes, it did. Okay, good. Yeah, text my.
We do the same kind of introduction for ourselves when we go from center to approach. The couple of flights I've done, I haven't had this much coverage with ATC, so I haven't had any practice.
Their call sign, your call sign, and your current altitude and your target altitude. That's all you need. If you're handed off, you don't need to give a position. Just call sign, current altitude, target altitude. That make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Alright. So yeah, my adherence to that VOR is not real good, but let me just, I gotta text my work colleague. Should be done, comma, check it and let me know, exclamation point.
Canadian Express 257 back on comms.
Air Force 2, contact Philly Approach 128.4, so on.
That was in the Discord.
Oops.
Alright. We're back at 7. Let's see if I can get it nice and trimmed out. Still flying a little bit left. See, now what's going on here? This is the... Okay, there's our direct heading. Now, flying direct, honestly, if you get off course, you don't necessarily have to navigate back to that. You can actually just recenter it from where you happen to have wound up and just fly that radial instead.
504 Alpha Foxtrot, contact Norfolk Approach 119.45.
You know, but ideally, you pick a radial, you stick with it. But yeah, when you're flying direct, you really just have to point yourself straight to it and do that. So you can kind of readjust and just go direct to the VOR from wherever you happen to have wound up. But, you know, I'm just navigating back to the original one that I was flying when I was originally told direct.
Alright, I'm going over to approach, so I'll see you when I land in Norfolk.
Alright, I'm catching up slowly but surely.
Slowly but surely.
Everybody leaving me in the dust. Oh yeah, so good fixins. We were talking earlier about that Mooney ovation. Yeah, I have not seen, and I checked before this stream went live. There's still not an update in the marketplace for that Mooney ovation. A while ago, when there were some breaking changes in the sim that affected the Mooney, if you remember, a lot of the controls, when you were trying to manipulate them, would just cause an instant crash to desktop. That went on for weeks, unfortunately. I just have a feeling that the updates being published to the marketplace is just a slow process. I don't know what the approval process is, but it just seems like it's a really slow process, and I think that's why PMDG and many others. I don't think it's KRDU. I think they've probably sent their fix in. It's just however the
yes or no.
The process of getting that fix published in the marketplace is what's holding them up. And I think that's why vendors like PMDG and a few others have just kept their stuff off of the marketplace. And they're like, if you want to buy our stuff directly from us. And, you know, like PMDG, they can push an update anytime they want to. They don't have to wait for anybody to approve it in the marketplace. I know that I keep using PMDG as that example, but I know there's several other vendors that have kind of taken that same tack. Like, we're not going to publish to the marketplace. If you want to buy our products, download it from our site, install it from our site, update it from our site, and that way they have total control over that process. And I think that's kind of been the way to go in retrospect, because this isn't the first time that a fix for a marketplace plane is just taking forever to kind of publish. Caronado says Starflies that they will have Sim Update 5 fixes within the next few days. Well, hopefully that'll be in time for our Friday stream. I do want to do some Bravo buzzing on Friday in that Mooney if I can, and if I have to cheat it, if I have to load up fuel in both tanks and then manually manipulate it back and forth to the left tank just so I can use it. Because what happens now is the fuel selector is stuck on off. If you use Control-E to start, it will at least select the left tank, but you won't be able to access...
Victor traffic is 12 o'clock, 4 miles, same direction is a Diamond 62, 5,000.
5 for Delta Victor, we're looking for. So same direction, 5,000. Yeah, I don't see you though, but he said you're at 5?
Correct.
Okay. What cruise speed are you making through the air? Just out of curiosity.
About 140.
Oh, okay, so you're passing me. Anyway, so like I was saying, guys,
Yeah, I don't see you either.
Yeah, I should be behind you, but I think you said 4 miles ahead, so I should be 4 miles behind you and 2,000 feet above you. Alright, so I got to the point where I was trying to chase that VOR needle, but now we're passing over. Passing over Tar River, and so now I just need to dial the outbound course. 064 is our outbound course from Tar River. So I'm going to, I'm going to set the heading bug to that.
Washington Center, American 1978, 13.1 for
I'm about
230.
15 miles out from Charlie.
American 1978, Washington Center, climb maintain flight level 350.
Maintain flight level 350, American
the
1978.
VOR set. There's 65, so there's 64. Okay, so we still need to correct to the left here. Hopefully that's my manager texting me back.
November 2243, contact Norfolk Approach 119.45.
Contact approach on 119.45, November 2243.
Washington Center, Vietnam, JetBlue 1461,
119.45.
JetBlue 1450 on Washington.
I'm going to just kind of monitor that.
Center, JetBlue 1484, 12,000.
JetBlue 1484, Washington Center, climb maintain flight level 350.
Good evening, Norfolk Approach.
Level 350, JetBlue 1484.
43 at 5,000 feet.
So 2243 Norfolk Approach, hello, the Norfolk altimeter 3007, expected visual on a 23 approach.
Altimeter 3007, and what was the runway again? November 2243?
Visual 23, sir.
Visual 23, November 2243.
The only other thing when you're checking in with an approach controller is you usually want to let them know what ATIS letter.
109.45, good day.
Okay.
Alright, 1945, I'm for Delta Victor. So we'll retrieve the ATIS for that real quick.
Same thing as in Raleigh, it's Charlie.
Okay, information Charlie.
American 21.
190.1110 statute miles clear, altimeter 3007. Visual to 23. Okay, very good. Switch over to where we're transmitting on 2, and we're off of monitoring both. Let's double check. Okay, yep. Let's get back up to our assigned altitude of 7,000. I would like to be at the altitude I'm about to say that I'm at, just, you know, so I'm not liar, pants on fire. And also, I'm really not doing well adhering to that 064 outbound course. Alright, and 3007. Alright, there we go. Alright, so there we are, 7,000. We're correcting back on course. Norfolk Approach, Cessna 514 Delta Victor, 7,000, information, Charlie.
154 Delta Victor, Norfolk Approach, thanks for Charlie. Expect the visual runway 23 approach.
Alright, visual 23, 514 Delta Victor. Alright.
504 Alpha Fox, at the center, maintain 5,000.
Alright, so we're back at 7.
5 Alpha Fox.
The course has come back in the center, so I'm going to fly the heading that's indicated by the course. Might be a little bit of a wind correction associated with that, so we'll have to kind of watch that.
136 knots, November 2243.
Canadian Express 257 for your airspeed.
9 or 2 knots, Canadian Express 257.
Canadian Express 257, maintain 110 for me.
I can go faster, but not much. Canadian Express 257.
Canadian Express 4257, maintain best forward speed for replace.
Alright, now we are north and east of Tar River, heading to Cofield. It's a 47-mile leg. When you're doing this VOR navigation stuff, you pretty much switch over at the halfway point, unless it's marked otherwise. So 47 miles, half of that's going to be, what, 23 and a half? So just to kind of get an advanced bead on it, we can actually tune. So 114.6 is the next.
Visual. Did they vector us in for the last part?
Yeah, they'll vector you in until you see the airport, and then from that point, as soon as you report the airport in sight, they'll pretty much say, you know, cleared visual approach, and then whether you're on a downwind or a base or whatever, it's kind of on you to navigate to final. So visual approaches can be kind of tricky if you're not real sure about spatial awareness, but as soon as you see the airport, they'll just clear you in.
Yes, 504 Alpha Fox, go ahead. 504 Alpha Fox, to the center, maintain 3,000, fly present heading, vectors, final approach course. Descend maintain 3,000, expect vectors, and we'll maintain present heading for Alpha Fox, and we can do the visual 23. 504 Alpha Fox, you say you want to do the visual now? Yeah, we can do the visual if that's easier for us. 504 Alpha Fox, roger, expect that. Alright, expect the visual 234 Alpha Fox.
The other thing is, just because you've been assigned a visual, you could still load in the ILS just to have it as a backup so that you can kind of look at the instruments and see that it matches with what you see out the window.
I could probably get up to 150, November 2243.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm having the ILS loaded just in case.
Yeah, let's do this. Maintain that forward speed.
So what I was just saying a minute ago
November 2243.
Was we got 114.6 in the standby, but we're also going to tune 114.6 in nav 2.
Canadian Express 257, or I can maintain 110 until I have to level off.
Canadian Express 257, yeah, reasonable speed, you're fine.
And 249 is the course to fly into that. 249 on the outbound side is going to be equivalent to a 069 on the inbound side, so we're spinning this up to that. So you can see, first of all, you can see those radials don't really line up that well. We just double check I've got them in correctly. 249 is a 069, right? Yes. And then the outbound one is a 064. Do I have that dialed in? Yeah, I think so.
Going into Norfolk right now, I got a 15 knot tailwind, so that's pretty nice.
So it looks like I kind of need to correct left. Robert W. says, it's nice to see the U.S. ATCs on. Yeah, now Washington staffed up specifically for us. We asked them to do that. So all these guys, whoops. Yeah, all these guys that are on down here, they're on because we asked them to be. I have that kind of pull occasionally. It didn't cost me that much.
Alright, resuming normal speed, November 2243.
But everybody else, yeah, we got a pretty good coverage here in the eastern U.S. tonight. That's nice to see.
257, descend and maintain 5,000.
Descend and maintain 5,000, Canadian Express 257.
Yeah, it's weird that these radials line up as poorly as they do. It makes me, well, you know what? Yeah, no, I'm right. 064 and 069. It's not that unusual that they're that far off numerically. That happens because these really aren't straight lines. You know, these paths aren't really straight. The Earth is curved, and you know, depending on, especially if you're east and west, sometimes those lines really do curve more than the map makes them look like they do.
Down to 4,000.
So that part's not unusual, but it is unusual that we'd be dialed into 064 out of Tar River and 069 into Cofield, and we're that close. I mean, we're only 7 miles off from the midpoint there. You see we're 19, almost 20 from Tar River, 27 from Cofield. So another 3.5 miles will switch over.
Heading 070, vector to final Canadian.
But it is kind of unusual to see them that far off from each other. And then what's the other thing we can do? We're on 1945 now. Let's look.
2243, flighting 050, vectors final approach switch.
050, vectors for final.
Norfolk Tower is going to be 5,000, 514 Delta Victor. So, Norfolk Tower is 120.8. So we'll go ahead and get that. We're working on COM 2 right now, so we'll get that preset. I'm going to pull some power out. At the same time we pull power out, we pull carb heat out just a touch. I don't think we need to descend that rapidly. Alright, so now we're basically 23 and 23 miles from both here. So at this point, I need to be flying that 249 into Cofield. 114.6, yep. It's the correct station, but man, I just feel like it's way off to the left.
Express 257 descend and maintain 3,000.
Descend maintain 3,000, Canadian Express 57.
So there's 070, so there's 069. So yeah, it's just, it's way off to the left, I don't know why. We'll bump the heading bug up to where it's at 069 also, just for consistency. Now, after we pass Cofield, we're pretty much just north and east of Cofield, and then we're getting vectored into our approach. So I'm going to do two things. Number one, I'm going to tune the Norfolk VOR on NAV2, 116.9.
Express 257, roger, and altitude maintain 5.
116.9.
5000, Canadian Express 257.
And on the NAV2, it doesn't really matter the direction. On the NAV2, that will now give us a countdown to the airport. Okay, we're not navigating to Norfolk, and that's why I'm not worried about the direction here. But the distance is useful, and that'll be over here. It's probably going to be off screen or might be behind my head. But I'll have that reference there. And then in the NAV1, we're going to tune the ILS for runway 23. We know we're going to get a visual for 23, but we're just going to tune the ILS just to have the electronic backup to what we see out the window, just so that it all agrees, and we call it kind of a sanity check. If you're looking out the window and you're lined up with a runway and you realize that the localizer is not lined up, then you might have to wonder maybe if you're lined up for the incorrect runway, the incorrect airport. So we'll go ahead and tune this 109. We're not going to tune the course yet, but we'll tune 109.1 into standby for NAV1 just so that we have it ready. .109 and 1. We still need to correct pretty far to the left here.
Canadian Express 257, ready for further descent.
Express 257, the plan maintain 3000.
Alright, and we're going to level it off at 5.
3000, Canadian Express 257.
Norfolk Approach 54 Fox. What degree and how far out was Norfolk? No, 504 Fox up in Norfolk Airport up to 1 o'clock and 15 Alpha. Norfolk International Airport in sight, 4 Alpha Fox. 504 Alpha Fox, shot clear visual approach runway 23. Clear visual runway 23, 4 Alpha Fox.
Alright, coming up on that 5,000. We'll go ahead and add some power back in, level it out. Oh, Crixel says, I needed that level off at 5 to recalibrate my gyro compass. Yeah, that's not a bad idea for me to do, too. I don't think these gyros drift out that badly. Maybe that's why my course is so far off, though. What am I reading here? Just about a 037, 038. Yeah, it's pretty close to what I got on the gyro. So again, still correcting pretty aggressively to the left to get back on that 069er course. Everyone's favorite, ever popular 069er course.
Nice.
And we are 14 miles still south and west. 14 miles south and west of...
Just seemed a good idea. Fly straight and level and no acceleration for a minute.
Cofield. And really, honestly, we're following the drone arrival at that point. We're going north and east of Cofield on the 055 for 13 miles. And then expecting vectors. So really, honestly, don't need Sky Vector anymore. Don't honestly need the drone anymore because we just know we're going on a 055, and that's all we need. Pretty much go to the ILS at that point.
Contact Tower 120.8, 4 up Fox.
Alright, so finally that 069 course starting to come back in, so we'll get ready to correct over back on it. And then 055 after we pass the VOR. Yeah, Starfly says, I haven't seen much procession on the sim DGs. It happens to me, Starflies, in that AeroWorks C47/DC3 for X-Plane. I haven't seen too much of it in Microsoft Flight Sim yet.
November 2243, descend and maintain 3000.
Descend and maintain 3000, November 2243.
Robert says, I'm going to have to get back to my roots and do some dead reckoning of VOR flights again. Gotten too comfortable with airliners. Yeah, man, this is the channel to be on to encourage you to do that stuff. You want to get bitten by that bug, this is where you need to be. You know what, I do need to throw in for September. I haven't started putting together my September schedule yet. I do need to throw in a couple airliner flights. Maybe one in the 727, maybe one in the 757. I haven't done one in a while. Last time I flew the 727, it didn't end well. That's not why I haven't done it in the meantime, or since then, rather. I'm not shy about getting back on the horse. But, especially because I kind of know what went wrong there. So I'll know not to repeat it. But that 727, I mean, it is an airliner, but it's a radio nav only airliner. So, you know, if you fly it the way it's meant to be flown, it's radio nav only. So it's not slant alpha technically speaking, but it is in the spirit of the channel with the radio nav only. I'm slipping just a little bit below our assigned altitude. Back up to 5, and we'll try and stay on that 069 course, and then it's a 055 outbound, and then pretty much getting radar vectored in. El Puro just got clearance. You're still back at Raleigh? Hopefully you're flying something fast.
Someone just now getting clearance from Raleigh?
Yeah, he joined late. He was just getting home from work as we were starting up.
Norfolk Approach, 635 Hotel.
If he's in a CJ or something like that, he might be able to catch you either by the time you land.
It's in a Skyhawk, so I don't think it's going to... he's going to have to play catch-up.
Yep, I think he might have to skip Norfolk and just go straight to the next one.
Neutron Boy is here.
Norfolk 35 Hotel, you're going to contact position Astra Port at clock 6240.
Neutron Boy, you're on guard, man. Yeah, El Puro, you might be a little bit behind us, but it's all good, man. It's all good.
6835 Hotel, maintain VFR and proceed on course.
Maintain VFR, proceed on course, 635 Hotel.
Alright, so there we are.
The 514 Delta Victor, flighting 060 vector, final approach course.
Alright, 060 vectors to final, 5 for Delta Victor. Alright, so now we're going to just fly this heading. We're going to get disregard. I don't have any alerts for what, Neutron Boy? I do have alerts. None of them have triggered. But no, I do have them. Did you follow? It didn't indicate to me that you have.
Just now turning on for final 2-3.
Well, unfollow and follow again, man. We'll see if it works. The alerts were working as of an hour ago, at least. Alright, well, I don't know if they're Maybe we're having a Twitch glitch or something. I don't know. My alerts were working at least an hour ago. So I apologize for that, but thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. I wonder if I go to... if I go to my dashboard on Twitch, wonder what it tells me.
Yeah, 6835 hotel contact Norfolk Tower 120.8 today.
Well, yeah.
Tower 120.8 today.
Yeah, I do see you. We got the follow from you. Yeah, we got the follow from you about 2 minutes ago, Neutron Boy. I don't know why it didn't come through. Streamlabs. I apologize. I truly do. But I'm glad to have you here either way, man.
Yo.
Alright, let's make sure we're on our assigned heading of 060. The furry co-pilot falling asleep on the job. I don't think so. It might, well, it might be. Let me... I don't know. We'll see. Now, Starfly's just hosted me, and I got that alert. It didn't come through the stream, but I did get that alert at least.
10 degrees right. 10 degrees to the right, November 2243.
I'm sorry.
But yeah, Neutron Boy just didn't kick. I didn't get a notification at all through Streamlabs. I apologize. All right. Anyway, what we were about to say was, since we are no longer navigating to that VOR, that Cofield VOR, we're going to go ahead and tune our localizer now. 1091 and 227 is the course. So 1091, we'll just swap it in. 227 doesn't really matter as much.
We have
with
touchdown.
With these that are not HSIs, they don't spin the arrow around
What's
to
the
indicate
prize for first place slant.
Recognition of a job well done.
Heck yeah.
Well, I was in a 152, so everyone was going to beat me today. I'm still 40 miles out.
172 puts me at 17 miles out right now.
Yeah, Robert says, I miss those 727s flying around in real life. Used to love watching them on Final and PWI and the NDs. Yeah. Indeed, beautiful planes, and the FlyJSim 727 for X-Plane is super, super well done. Like, it's so well modeled. It's artistically and systems-wise both. Really can't complain about it. You got plenty of time to prepare for the arrival on a 152, says Ori Darkwind. Indeed. Indeed. Not much excuse for being behind the 152.
Norfolk Airport off the shore.
One checklist item we haven't gotten to, by the way.
17 miles, point
Airport 11 to 12 o'clock, looking Canadian Express 257.
Yes, well, like 10 to 11, I'm sorry.
Now, speaking of having plenty of time, you guys, a bunch of you had put in some raffle ticket redemptions a little bit ago. We'll go ahead and get those in. El Pruru is owed a ticket.
Okay, Express 257, starting 040.
Heading 040, Canadian Express 257.
No, 2240 to center maintain.
Iowa Scotsman is due 6.
Center maintain 2000, November 2243.
We have 2 raffles on this channel, guys. The second one is going to be kind of the more pressing one here.
Delta Victor to center maintain 2000.
2005 for Delta Victor. We'll pull a little power. Pull a little carb heat. We'll do a little dance. We'll make a little love. And let's get down to 2000 tonight. Rob Valkyrie gets 6 tickets. SJ Fly 2 gets 6 tickets. See if I can get the plane nice and stable. We'll talk about the raffle here in just a moment. That should catch us up there, I think, at least for now. Should be on a 060 and going down to 2. Alright, very good. We do run 2 monthly raffles concurrently on this stream. There are 2 raffles you need to be aware of. The first one is the one that you enter. You enter by virtue of redeeming those Twitch Alphabets points, those Twitch channel points at the bottom of the chat panel. On this stream, we call them Alphabets points. You got that alphabet serial icon down there at the bottom of the chat panel. You got a little button next to it that tells you how many you have. And if you get to the point where you have 1,000 of those, you can cash those in for 1 entry into our first monthly raffle. If you should accumulate 5,000 of those, cashing those all in at once gets you 6 entries for the price of 5 into that first monthly raffle. We're going to pull that winner on August the 25th. That is a week from tonight, guys. You've got 1 week to get those entries in. If you go exclamation point TIX, exclamation point TIX, and enter, we'll tell you how many entries you have currently in that raffle. And if you would like to add some, like I said, you cash in those Twitch channel points there at the bottom of the screen, the little button next to the alphabet serial icon. Must you be present? No. If you win and you're not on the stream next Wednesday, we will contact you. If you're on our Discord, we'll contact you that way. If you're not on our Discord, we'll contact you over Twitch Whispers. And you'll have 1 week to answer and let me know what prize you would like. We'll talk about the prizes here in just a moment. But yeah, the Twitch Alphabets points gets you 1,000 gets you 1 entry, 5,000 gets you 6 entries, and we'll pull that winner on the on Wednesday the 25th, a week from tonight. Or he's going to be up at Lake George next week. Very good. I expect you to be gathered around the fireplace watching your friend Slant Alpha do some air traffic control. The second raffle that we run on this channel, and we will also pull that winner on August the 25th, is our landing rate raffle. Once we are established in the pattern, and that means we see the airport and we're flying, we've been cleared to fly the visual approach. That is your cue. Once you hear that word cleared, with that phrase, cleared visual approach, directed at me, Once I read back cleared visual approach, that is your cue to start putting your predictions in as to the vertical descent rate at the moment the wheels touch.
Clear visual approach, runway 32, Canadian Express 257.
Hey, just a quick question. Do you fly in real life as well?
What was the question?
Do you fly in real life?
I do not.
Okay, good. Thank you.
050, flying for Delta Victor. Yeah, sorry, I had to answer the controller there. Nope, 0.0 hours, real world. This is a 35-year hobby behind the computer desk for me.
Got it, alright. Well, I gotta go. Great flying with you guys. Hope to fly with you guys again soon.
Yeah, very cool. Sorry you can't join in the second leg, but glad that you flew along with us for the first one tonight.
All right, see you guys. Bye.
Night.
See ya.
Anyway, so as I was saying, as soon as I am cleared for the visual approach, that is your cue to start putting your predictions into the chat in terms of a number. No bot command is necessary, just a number into the chat, positive or negative. We do everything analog and old school on this channel, so we'll just eyeball it.
Norfolk Airport off of your 1 clock and 10 miles.
Surprise runway 32.
So as soon as we're clear to the visual, that's your cue. Start entering those numbers. One number into the chat, positive or negative, we'll know you meet a descent rate either way.
Cleared visual approach runway 23.
And one entry per customer, please. You have to get those in before I am 500 above ground level. And ground level here is pretty much 0. I think it's like 23 feet or something like that. So 500, we'll call it 500 mean sea level as your last call. Now, if it appears in the chat before the wheels touch, we'll take it, but I'm trying to just help you out by accounting for that little buffering delay. So pretty much as you see me passing through 500, that is your last call. You need to be typing and hitting enter with your guess by that point if you haven't done so already. All right, we'll get the throttle back in, we'll get the carb heat back in. Leveled off at 2,000 now. Airport's still 26 miles away, so not expecting to see anything just yet.
Does a 12-footer contact Washington 133.72.
Now, we have not done a full briefing on the approach because it is a visual, not an ILS. However, we do want to be aware of a few things. So the wind was 190, so it's a 2-3. It's the wind is going to be pushing us left to right as we come down 2-3. Cloud cover, we can see that there's no clouds cover to be aware of, so there should be no issues with visibility or minimums. And if we go missed, I'm sure it will be a closed traffic pattern. We'll follow the controller's direction on that.
Tower 120.8 November 2243.
And if it is a, where's the General Aviation ramp here? General Aviation's off the southwest side, southeast side. So roll it long and go left. If we can get off left at Foxtrot, we will. If we can get off left at Golf, we will. Yeah, actually, we don't have to roll it too long because we got Foxtrot or Golf off the left-hand side. So going to the GA ramp, we'll expect to turn left off 2-3. So I think that covers our briefing. Should be good to go, and again, we're still 22 miles and change away. We owe Ori Darkwind some tickets. Let's do that. Alright, that is done.
514 Delta Victor, accept runway 32.
514 Delta Victor, affirmative.
514 Delta Victor, accept visual runway 32.
Alright, well that changes something. I mean, it means that we're still gonna land and turn left because we're gonna turn land this way, and I guess we're gonna turn left immediately after the crossing runway, and then this will be our taxi back to GA. If we go long, it'll be Victor taxi through the air cargo area, but it's gonna be a left turn either way. It means we got a much shorter approach, means we don't have to go all the way up to the northeast and join the final approach course, so it's gonna get us in a little sooner, which is good. Also means that ILS we've got tuned on Nav 1 is really not going to be too much help to us. Papa Charlie is just getting here. Says, I'm late. Is this the end of the first leg? Yeah, we are getting ready to arrive into Norfolk International, and then we're going to start our VFR leg up to Ocean City, Maryland.
Delta Victor, turn 10 degrees left.
All right, 10 degrees left, 5 and 4 Delta Victor. Well, we've kind of strayed a little bit off of our... We're supposed to be going 050, and we've drifted 060. So, 10 degrees left gets us back on our assigned heading. We're also about 200 feet higher than our assigned altitude, so we'll fix that too. Got a little airport here to our left. Single runway airport to our left. See if we can figure out what runway that is here. Well, if it's to our left, I feel like it should be Suffolk Executive. I mean, it might be Chesapeake Regional, or I don't think we've come in this far. But I don't see any crossing runways either. It looks like a single runway. So that might be Chesapeake Regional. Yeah, I don't think we've gone that far east. So that might be Chesapeake. Where are we in relation to that VOR? We're pretty much a 210 out from it. A 210 and 16 miles. So if we were to look at a 210, 18, 19, 20, 21, I guess that must be Chesapeake Regional. I didn't realize we had swung that far east after Cofield.
Level 14 Delta Victor, the Norfolk Airport at your, let's see, 11 o'clock, 15 miles, 4:30.
Alright, looking for the field, 5 Fort Delta Victor. Well, actually, I think that's it. Really, pretty much dead ahead there. I'm going to spin the heading bug around to 3-2 because that's going to be our landing runway heading. And it looks like we're on pretty much a squared up left base for that. So let me just double check again, straight ahead. I think that is it. Well, that could be it also. Approach 5 and 4 Delta Victor. We got one airport dead ahead, and then one airport that's kind of at our maybe 10 o'clock now.
514 Delta Victor, the Norfolk Airport up your 10 to 11 o'clock, 13 miles.
We got it in sight. 5 and 4 Delta Victor.
514 Delta Victor, clear visual approach on 832.
Clear the visual approach 3-2, 5 and 4 Delta Victor. All right, guys, that's your cue. You can start putting in those predictions to your heart's content. Yeah, so this one up ahead is possibly going to be the Naval Air Station here. Yep. So the little two flashing lights is where our crossing runway is. Turn in toward it. Iowa Scotsman's got the first prediction, just exactly like.
Contact Norfolk Tower 120.8 tab. Good night.
All right, 120.85 for Delta Victor. See it. We'll switch over. Start getting down to pattern altitude. Pull some power. Pull some carb heat.
November 2243, cross runway 32 at Foxtrot.
Landing lights on.
Cross 32 at Foxtrot, November 2243.
Alright, basically on a 9-mile left base. And we should have the Naval Air Station off to the right still. Kind of lost sight of it. But yeah, here's our airport right here. Norfolk Tower, Cessna 514 Delta Victor's on a 7-mile left base, runway 32 north.
Cessna 514 Delta Victor, Norfolk Tower, enter left base, runway 32.
Alright, left base 32, 514 Delta Victor. I said Norfolk at the end, like I like I was making a CTAF call. Duh. That's alright. Yeah, the wind's 190. So it's going to be a pretty good right to left. Or no. It's a tailwind as we stand now, so it's going to be a left to right. So we're going to have to correct to the left as we land on 3-2. Knocked around pretty good here, guys.
Well, Mr. Slant, it's getting late for me on the East Coast, but I really appreciate the opportunity, and it feels good to have my first full flight in the books.
Excellent, man. Happy to help out. Hopefully it won't be the last.
Absolutely not. That was a blast, and I learned a lot. I appreciate it.
Good deal, man. We'll see ya. Alright, so we're starting to get lined up. I'll show you. It's kind of through the pedestal here, but starting to get set up.
Delta Victor, the wind 190.11, runway 32, clear land.
Clear land 32, 5-4 Delta Victor. Start getting our flaps out. Go to low power. We get some carb heat in. I'm going to watch watch the approach speed. I want to try and bring it in about 50. I know I was really slow coming into Block Island. I let the approach speed get way down close to the bottom of that arc. So we're going to try and keep the approach speed a little closer to 50 this time. Still descending. Still got some excess altitude. Still got some flaps to get out here. gonna start making that turn. Gonna get our final notch of flaps. Flaps are now set and checked. Landing clearance received. And last call, guys. Last call for those predictions. A little high still. Really bumpy approach. Yeah, we said we were going to have to correct pretty hard left to right here. Or right to left. Left to right is what I really meant. And let's watch the approach speed. Oof. Oof. Center line adherence is a little bad because of that very brisk crosswind. But we got it down. Got it down, and I'm not too displeased with it. 11 knot crosswind left to right.
Victor, welcome to Norfolk, left when able on Victor if you can make it.
Yeah, we'll make the next left here, Victor, 5 foot out to Victor.
Thanks, aircraft. ATIS information, Delta is now current to wind 19007, altimeter 3009.
We'll talk about the winning number here in just a moment. Let's get clear and clean. Flaps stowed. The strobe lights can come off.
Taxi to the ramp VL. Victor, Charlie, Alpha, cross runway 23.
Alright, Victor, Charlie, Alpha, cross 23, 5 4 Delta Victor. Alright, so that's exactly the taxi routing we talked about. So, we left Victor, right Charlie, left Alpha, and then to the GA ramp. Let's keep 1,000 RPMs in it. Open the windows. Make the right on Charlie. I think we got everything else done off of the runway. We got the lights reconfigured. Oh, keep 1,000 in it. There we go. Landing and taxi lights off. We don't need the taxi lights right now. We're fine. Strobe lights are off. Pitot heat's off. Flaps are stowed. Just the one thing I've been forgetting all the time lately. We were cleared to cross, so we will go ahead and keep it rolling, but we will kind of do a visual check just to make sure. Come across on Alpha. It's going to come down here and bend to the left. Skipper Jeff is here. Is asking about transponder on the standby. So on VATSIM, it's
Norfolk Tower off frequency 5 minutes.
On VATSIM, it's customary to keep the mode Charlie active anytime you're in a movement area. So we're still rolling. We'll go ahead and keep that in, but we'll shut that off as soon as we get to the ramp and parked. But as far as I can tell, I think I did everything else off the runway that I normally want to do. I don't think they actually have, what do they call it, ATIS as next radar here at Norfolk, so you probably would shut it off onto standby. But on VATSIM, it's just customary to leave it on when you're moving. VATSIM has its own rules, yeah, of course. what we like to call VATSIMisms. Oh, there's our friends, maybe. Those are either static aircraft or our friends. And either way, we'll go park there. We do still have a second leg to do, by the way. I don't know if any of our friends are still partaking or if it's just going to be me. But we are going to do a second leg. We're going to do a VFR leg up to Ocean City, Maryland from Norfolk Airport here. So we will be prepared to do that here in just a moment. I do need to talk about the winning prediction. We'll get that squared away as soon as we get up to a stop here. We can get the parking brake on. That's cynisms, says Skipper Jeff. No, we love VATSIM. Alright, we are parked. Let us... The flaps are stowed. Carb heat, carb heat could have come off. Windows were open, yeah. Taxi, landing lights off, strobe light off, pitot heat off. There we go. We got an alert. Somebody was saying our alerts weren't working. That one did. So I apologize again to our earlier friends, but the alert worked that time. It is a follow there from the Doodler. Thank you, Doodler, for hitting the follow button there. Appreciate it. So parking brake, taxi light, transponder. Yeah, transponder now, 1200. And standby. Elevator trim can be reset to about there. And we'll check on our fuel and ETA. Well, we got in really early, actually. I had expected a touchdown time of 9:21 Eastern and a block time of 9:26 Eastern. Wow, we got in really, really early, in fact. Expecting to have 77 pounds of fuel left over, so we should have probably closer to 95, 100 maybe. What do we burn per hour here? We burned almost a quarter hour less, and we burn 40 an hour. So we should have 10 more pounds than what I said. So let me get to that. Yeah, we should 77. So we should have close to 90 pounds. Let's see what it says we have. We got 100 pounds. Okay. All right. Well, I'm still kind of tweaking those. That change to 33.2 did in fact save us, but my distance to the airport was calculated directly from the point drone, so that shouldn't have accounted for much. But it's all good. Crixel's going to go give SoCal Approach something to do. Very cool. Thank you for flying along with us, Crixel. We appreciate it. Don't know if that means there's anybody left that's going to fly the second leg, or if it's just me. Might be just me. But that's fine. Appreciate everybody who flew along with us on that first one. Real quick. All right. I know I owe you the winning numbers. I know that. I owe you the winning landing rate. I will get that to you. Whoops. Yeah, I guess everyone's gone. Okay, very good. That's okay. We'll still do the second one just for the sake of the exercise. Plus, it's a nice flight. The winner of our entry into our August 25th landing rate raffle, our second raffle on the stream, is the one who guessed it closest to 105. Again, 11 knots left to right. So I felt like 105 is not bad under that circumstance. And this is the number I like to see. No bounces. Okay. 105. Who had it, guys? Let's look. Let's look. 86 from Iowa, 150, 110 from Ori. That's going to be a hard one to beat. 64, 78, 88, 78, 180 from Skipper Jeff. Yeah, I guess that's going to be it. Ori Darkwind with the 110. Ori Darkwind gets the entry into the August 25th raffle. Very good, Ori. got a few entries in that raffle, if I remember correctly, but this one is another one. At KORF on 8. What the heck's today? The 18th, I think? It is indeed the 18th. Excellent, guys. Or Darkwind says, I can't fly with you tonight. Need to get to work in the morning. Out of here in just a few. So, all right. I appreciate it, man. But congrats on the yeah, congrats on the entry into the August 25th raffle, guys. Again, 2 raffles on this channel. Landing rate raffle is our raffle number 2. Ori Darkwind was the winning entrant into that. We've got one more landing to do tonight, so we've got one more opportunity to get you into that raffle. The other one is our more long-standing raffle, is that Twitch channel points raffle, Alphabets points raffle. So if you have those Alphabets points that you've been accumulating there at the bottom of the chat panel, and you got up to 1,000 of those, you can cash that 1,000 in for an entry into our first August 25th raffle. If you save up to 5,000 channel points, cash those in, you get 6 entries at the price of 5 into that. Both of those winners will be pulled on August 25th, 1 week from tonight, and we will contact the winner. So if you don't have to be present on stream, although we certainly hope that you would be. All right, so Tower's getting off. It's going to revert to center on 3372, it looks like. There we go. Papa Charlie gets some tickets into that raffle. Let's go ahead and get that taken care of for you. I guess it helps if I spell it right. There we go. All right, let me get into the bot. Negate that last one there. There we go, Papa Charlie. So it should have your correct total. If you want to go exclamation point ticks, it should have you correctly marked in for a total of 18 of those. All right, very good, guys. The second flight we're doing tonight is going to be VFR from here up to Ocean City, Maryland. We're going to take a quick break out of the cockpit, come back and get that started, do a full briefing on that for you, show you what we're about to do. Papa says, I'll take an extra 6 ticks. No, you won't. I've already fixed it, dude. I'm that quick. But yeah, let's let you see the goings on at the airport, and we'll take a quick break out of the cockpit. Lots of flying left to do. Going to go do some liquid recycling. We'll be back with you in just a couple. So do stay with us, guys.
Washington Center, good evening. JetBlue 183 with you, passing flight level 320 for 350.
JetBlue 183, Washington Center, hello.
Washington Center, good evening. United 849, climbing 115 for 21
United 849, Washington Center, hello. Time maintain level 29 zero.
29 zero.
November 360, Mike Foxtrot, contact Atlanta Center on 132.97.
American 45, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, good evening. American 45, 2245, 350.
American 455, Washington Center, Mark 1575.
Squawk 1575, American 455.
Delta 2180, contact Jacksonville Center on 135.92.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the helicopter handoff. American 341, contact Raleigh Approach on 128.4.
Like 1285, we've got using compass for 5 minutes.
Stand by, Brickyard 5004, promise estimate 10,250 knots to Baltimore, altimeter 3000.
Guys, back with you. I thought that the tower controller said he was getting off. I think he might have actually been saying that he was just taking a quick break out of the off the frequency, and he's probably back on because he's still showing on that spy that he's here. He's still showing on VPL that is here. So we'll go ahead and switch the radio back over to 20.8, and I think he will still be there. All right, so we are back, guys. We are going to get ready to do leg number 2, and this one is going to be a VFR flight as we head up the coast from Norfolk to Ocean City, Maryland. Again, this is the same. If you look at the tutorial that we have on our YouTube channel there, link on the lower left-hand side, this is the very same flight, KORF to KOXB, that we have on our YouTube channel for tutorials for creating a VFR plan. And so we'll just briefly go over it again here. The whole tutorial is about 20 minutes, but we're going to kind of do the short version. So we need to avoid, you see this blue spiky airspace here. This is the restricted airspace around Wallops Island. It may or may not be active right now. We can check, actually, if we go to the Washington VFR sectional, we could check here in the side to see if that restricted airspace is active right now. They're all listed down there with their operating hours. We're just going to assume it's active. We're going to route around it. To the west here, we've got another restricted area here by Patuxent Naval Air Test Center, and this blue spiky boundary here. So we're going to have to come up with a routing, a way to make sure that we we split the uprights. We're going to stay east of this spiky blue boundary and west of this spiky blue boundary. We're also going to try and stay out of this class Delta at Wallops Island, and we're going to try and stay out of this class Delta here at Salisbury. We're going to basically, once we get north of the Norfolk Charlie, we're going to try and stay out of controlled airspace to where we're just going to be on Unicom the entire way. A couple ways we can do that. The main one, as we're navigating visually, is to just fly north and east. And I think we're landing 2-3, so we might ask for a right downwind departure or left downwind departure to kind of get on course to go northeast. And we're going to pick up this coastline and pretty much just go up the coast. We can use this Cape Charles VOR just as a reference point, but we really probably shouldn't need it because this coastline here should be fairly obvious. And we're just going to follow this coastline all the way up. I'm going to put a handful of GPS points in just to kind of approximate it. Follow this this point just all the way north and east, and we should be able to identify this little thumbs up kind of looking thing here. So we should be able to locate that visually, I would think. And then I think from that point we would look for, maybe we can go to the Snow Hill VOR as a backup plan. But I think from that point we're really going to be looking for this town of Pocomoke City, and then we're going to follow this 113 highway north and east from Pocomoke City to Snow Hill, and then up to our destination of Ocean City Municipal. The pattern entry that we use there will depend on what the prevailing winds are. We'll check that when we get closer. We do, in case we need it. We've got this NDB right here north and west of the field called Landy on frequency 407, so we can tune that. We're not going to be receiving that just yet, but we'll receive that when it gets a little closer. And like I said, we can tune Cape Charles VOR just to have it as a reference. But honestly, we're just going to do this all visually up the coast, and we're going to look for that little thumbs up shaped inlet there, that little bend in the, I guess, the river or the tributary, whatever you want to call it. This is all Chesapeake Bay over here. Whatever this little tributary of the bay is has that little thumbs up shape to it, little elbow shape to it. So we're going to look for that, and that should direct us right up to Pocomoke City. We're 6 miles from Pocomoke City there, and then that US 113 headed north and eastbound on approximately a 067, does that say? So approximately a 067 out of Pocomoke City, and it should put us parallel with this highway, so that should be pretty obvious too. But at that point, we might even be receiving this NDB on frequency 407, so we can get some guidance to help find our airport if we need it. The Pocomoke River Gut is what we call that. Alright guys, so that's the plan. And again, the full tutorials over on the YouTube channel. We now actually have a tutorial, a more complete tutorial on reading VFR sectionals over there on that channel as well. Links on the bottom left of your screen there, the link to the YouTube channel, and then there's a tutorial, a playlist called VATSIM tutorials you can check out. So let's take it from the top here. Let's go back to the top of our checklist. First thing to do is get onto VATSIM and get this second leg filed. Skipper says, I almost flew that exact route in the real life a few years ago from Richmond to the Ocean City, but I followed the coastline. Yeah, Richmond's only about 60 miles to our west here. That was our alternate for this leg. Yeah, Norfolk Tower is indeed still on. Okay, so I don't know why I thought. I guess I heard him say he was stepping away for a minute, and I thought he was saying he was done. All right, but he's still here. That's good. All right, no, we're going to be VFR this time. We're going to be ORF to KOXB. I did put an alternate in, I think, of Salisbury. I don't think we're going to need it. Departure time, we're going to call it 0130. Time en route 054. Yeah, 054 with one, I think, 56 left in the tanks as of now. Cruise speed's still about 110. We're going to call it 3,000, I think. What did I say? What did I plan for? Oh, I didn't put one in. Okay, yeah, 3,000 will be fine. We're just going to call it VFR northbound. And everything else is there is accurate. So there's that. Robert W. says if you follow the Bay Bridge, Route 13 will carry you to Pocomoke also, yeah. So the Bay Bridge... Yeah, so the Bay Bridge, right, so that's going to come just east of the airport and up. And, of course, there's the tunnel in the middle, but you come up Fisherman's Island. So, yeah, so that's not too bad. It's the only thing is following 113 or whatever that is. I forget which highway number that is. But the only thing is that following that up gets you real close to that restricted airspace at Wallops. So once you get up here, you'd want to kind of shade over. Once you get past Accomack, you want to kind of shade over to the west and follow the coastline up just so you stay out of this restricted airspace around Wallops Island. And again, it may not be active right now, but we're gonna pretend as though it is. Of course, on VATSIM, it's very rarely active, but we're gonna pretend as though it is. All right, what else is we at in the... Okay, so we've set the flight plan. Let's go ahead and check the ATIS. ATIS is now on Delta. 3009er, so we'll fix that.
133.72, squawk 6203.
3009er, okay, so it's there. Field elevation's next to nothing, and that's accurate. Directional gyro is reading, well, what's the compass reading? Almost a 310, 1 degree shy of a 310. And no, that looks like it is off by a little bit now. I don't know why. As soon as I adjust it, it spins like all the way around. I don't know what's going on with that. Let's get that out of the way. So it looks like 1 degree left of 310 there. And then we'll set the... We're probably departing off at 23, so we'll set that down to that. Comm radios are set. We don't need to obtain a clearance just yet. We'll call them when we're ready to taxi. We are squawking 1200, but we'll go ahead and put it back into altitude mode. Nav and ADF tuners can be set. So like I said, we're going to set that Cape Charles VOR, not because we're going to navigate by it, but just because we're going to use it as a sanity check, 112.2. And then further up the line, we've got kind of the Snow Hill, I think it's called. Yeah, Snow Hill VOR on 112.4. We'll go ahead and set that on nav 2. So we'll have some DME countdowns just to kind of, we're not receiving anything yet on the ground here, but we'll have those dialed in to track our progress. And then that NDB was on frequency 407. So we'll go ahead and get, where's our NDB, our ADF box over here? Is that, there we go. We didn't even have that turned on. Okay, well that's fine. Where's the inner knob? There it is. Okay, 407. We don't expect to be seeing anything on that just yet either. Where's the indicator for that? Oh, the indicator for that's over here to the right also. Alright, I think we're set, guys. Nav and ADF tuners set as needed. We know that the flaps are operable. We had them working in leg 1, but we'll just double check that nothing has changed. Whoops. Yeah, flaps are operating normally. Both sides, as well as the interior indicator. Okay, good. And we'll go ahead and get them set back for departure at 10 degrees. Trim is reset. Oil temps and pressure's good. Let's take a look at our airport diagram here and see what we think the taxi routing will be. I guess probably...
6100, welcome to Norfolk, ready for Naples.
I mean, he might have his taxi all the way up Charlie, but what we may do is up Foxtrot and just take it from Foxtrot.
MP1 6100 is
Ema 6100, you can taxi the rest of Charlie. We'll see it.
Or might depart us on 3-2. So we'll see what he says. We got some different options here. Not sure exactly how he's going to have us go, but we'll see what he says. Go ahead and get our taxi light on. Tower Cessna 514 Delta Victor VFR request.
Cessna 514 Delta Victor, Norfolk Tower, good.
Yes, sir. We got information Delta looking for taxis for a VFR northeastbound departure.
For 514 Delta Victor, recycle transponder squawk 6210.
I'm sorry, you cut out on the last digit, 621, and then what was the last?
6210, 6210.
6210, 514 Delta Victor.
That's Cessna 4 Delta Victor. Are you looking for 3-2 or 2-3?
We can take either. I guess 3-2 would be more convenient.
Number 514 Delta, correction, Cessna 4 Delta Victor, roger. You can taxi runway 32 via Alpha.
Alright, 3-2 via Alpha, 514 Delta Victor. Alright, so parking brake is off. Going to basically head northbound. Let's make sure we keep at least 1,000 RPMs in. Brakes are checked. So as we get to the northeast corner of this ramp area,
That's a 4 Delta Victor, maintain VFR outer below 2,500, fly runway heading. Actually standby, looks like my winds have switched down here.
we're going to need a moment for a run-up anyway.
Roger.
Alright. Hold the whole short line. We'll run it up to 2,000 RPMs. Whoops. Do a mag check. Down to the left side, we'll notice the RPMs will drop, but hopefully not more than about 100 RPMs. Okay, back to both, and they should recover.
A2 Zulu Fox for taxi.
Alright, and then back down 2. And again, it shouldn't drop more than about 100 RPMs, and then back to both, and they should recover.
A20 Fox.
And we are good.
Should stand by.
Alright, let's button up the windows.
Do you know how long you'll be on your run-up?
5-4 Delta Victor, we are ready.
4 Delta Victor, roger. A2 Zulu Fox, standby 1. Cessna 4 Delta Victor, maintain VFR at or below 2,500, fly runway heading, the wind 19007, runway 32, clear for takeoff.
Alright, clear for takeoff 32, runway heading 5-4 Delta Victor. And VFR at or below 2,500.
A2 Zulu Fox, runway 23, taxi via Alpha, Foxtrot, Echo Charlie.
Alpha Fox, Echo Charlie, 23, A2 Zulu Fox.
Let's get the strobes on. Landing lights on. Taxi light off. We will forego the pitot heat, just because we don't need the electrical load. Temps and pressures look good. Takeoff power set. Get the heading bug spun around to runway. Ooh, man. Really vicious crosswind. A lot of right rudder in. Right rudder and left aileron. Okay, let's go. Ooh. Tap the brakes.
A2 Zulu Fox, cross runway 32 at Alpha.
Cross 23 at Charlie, A2 Zulu Fox.
He wanted us on runway heading, so we're not going to turn on course just yet.
And A2 Zulu Fox, was at cross 32 at Alpha.
Sorry, cross 32 at Alpha, A2 Zulu Fox.
So there's 400 feet. Get the flaps in. Get pitched for about 70 knots. Yeah, that was a pretty sporty takeoff. Pick a 5-string. How are you? I haven't seen you here in a little bit. Seen you a lot on many Discords that we're on in common, but I haven't seen you on stream in a little bit. Good to see you back here. Yeah, we're getting bounced around pretty good. Alright, we're runway heading to 2,500. Trying to get a turn on course northbound when we can.
Cessna 4 Delta Victor, you can contact Washington Center now, 133.72. We'll see you. Thanks for flying in, Rob.
Alright, 3372, appreciate the service. 5-4 Delta Victor. Alright, swap that in.
Check the 3555, contact Atomic Approach 109.7.
Contact Approach 109.7, JetBlue 3555.
Bulldog 517, contact Approach 109.7.
Washington Center, Cessna 514 Delta Victor, 1,100.
55, traffic 12 o'clock, about 15 miles before the traffic phase.
Pick a 5-string's been working the third shift. Not much time for anything other than work. Says, not much time for work, sleep, and eat. Anything else besides work, sleep, and eat. I hear you, man. It's been a while since I've had to do the mids, but been there and done that, man. It's no fun. Hang in there. Yeah, rudder control on this airplane in the sim isn't the best. It says, Jesus F-15, yeah, I agree with you. It's alright. We got it up in the air without bending it. Alright, we gotta try again. We gotta try again to call this guy. Center, Cessna 514 Delta Victor's 1,700.
Cessna 514 Delta Victor, Washington Center.
What's your request?
We were handed off to you, I presume, for entry into the Charlie, but we can stay clear of the Charlie if you'd like.
Are you asking for VFR 5 following?
Negative, don't need flight following today.
Alright, frequency change, please squawk VFR.
Alright, frequency change approved, squawk VFR, 5 out the Victor, see it. Okay, so that
Delta 4923 requesting descent.
means that we need to stay below the outer shelf at starts at 2000. So we will stay at 1900.
Descend via the cap clear arrival, Washington Timber 3001, main south, Delta 4923.
Alright, so a couple things to do here. We have kind of turned to the north and east now.
Delta 155 contact tower 119.1.
We're gonna stay at 1900. We're gonna squawk 1200.
Spirit Wings 407 stopper climb, maintain level 300.
Maintain 300.
So here's the bridge that we were kind of getting near there. So Tower had us go runway heading, and never really asked us about flight following. They did issue us a squawk.
Descend and maintain 5,000.
Descend and maintain 5,000, Delta 1512.
Delta 1512, turn left heading 020.
Left 020, Delta 1512.
Okay, so now we're kind of going more east. So what we need to do is head across to the north here. So what happened there was, there's two things you can do. If you're going to be climbing up into the outer ring of the Charlie, then the tower controller would ordinarily, outer ring is 12. Oh, we are going to bust it there. Yeah, very good. Very good, guys. We'll get down. Yeah, staying slow is the way. Low and slow is the way to go.
Spirit Wings 407, climb maintain level 380.
Yep, indeed, guys.
380.
Yeah, that's a weirdly shaped Charlie, but you guys are absolutely right. So there's two ways to do that. And I think what the tower controller assumed was that we were going to go ahead and climb through the Charlie. So that was probably what we should have just gone ahead and done. In retrospect.
Airport in sight, Delta 1512.
Delta 1512, clear visual approach 923.
Clear visual approach 123, Delta 1512.
I'll show you guys in just a second. As soon as I get it stabilized, I'll show you kind of what we're talking about here. Yeah, so there was two ways that could have gone. The tower controller said runway heading and contact 133.72. 133.72 is actually the center controller, but because there's no Norfolk Approach on right now, this all becomes part of Washington Center's airspace. So there's two things that he, I guess, expected us to go ahead and climb to 2,500 and then contact center. He issued us a squawk code, so that was kind of what he expected us to do. And then through this area of the Charlie, we're definitely in it if we're above 1,200 feet, at or above 1,200 feet. So I think that's what the tower controller was kind of setting us up for, was to climb out through the Charlie under the control of the Norfolk Approach controller. But what we did when we contacted center, and it partially because center sounded like he was a little bit busy, and it took us 3 tries to even get checked in with him, was, well, heck, we can just stay out of the Charlie, which again I was keying in on this, starting at 2,000. I was like, oh, 1,900's good. But I didn't catch on that that's 1,200. So good eyes, guys. Thank you for the backup. But at that point, you no longer need the squawk. You just squawk 1,200, and then you just stay below that outer shelf. And then as soon as we get up out north of that Charlie, And we'll know we're north of the Charlie because we'll know that once we're over top of this landmass,
approach on 128.4.
we'll know that we're away from that Charlie. Now, do we see the tunnel over there? The bridge and tunnel? Yeah, kind of hard to see, but I think it is there. Yeah, so once we're over top of the landmass, then we'll know that we're outside of that Charlie, and then we can go ahead and climb up.
New York 2532, today 3 Alpha Foxtrot.
Then we can go ahead and climb up as high as we want to. We'll be in Class Echo. You're not in Charlie, Delta, or Bravo. You're pretty much in either Echo or Golf, and in either case, you're free to do what you want to do without having to talk to a controller, and more or less be at any altitude you want to be within certain parameters. Yeah, low enough to toss out a fishing line and do some trolling as soon as pick a 5-string. Yeah, why not? We're going slow enough, too. Yeah, Jesus F says, yeah, flight following would be ordinarily the way to go. But because Norfolk Approach was no longer online, and Center is handling this whole airspace here with these 3 dozen planes, yeah, he's just a little bit busy for it. So just seemed easier on him if I just kind of stayed out. Yeah, so that kind of became the plan on the fly. But no, good on you guys for spotting that 1,200-foot shelf. I was keying in on this figure right here. Of course, below 2,000, we're in the Delta, so it really wouldn't have mattered. I should have been talking to somebody either way.
November 3206, Washington, are you with me?
Citation 3206 is with you at 40.
Yeah, so in retrospect, I probably should have kept the squawk code and just talked to the center controller as though he was the approach controller. Should have just flown it out of the Charlie rather than flown it onto the Charlie. Oh well. Yeah, Skipper Jeff says I wouldn't want to be that low, that far out over the water too. Yeah, that's a good point too.
November 8200 Zulu Foxtrot, Washington Center. Where are you out of? Say again for 2 Zulu Fox, please. November 82 Zulu Foxtrot, Washington Center. Where are you out of? Out of Norfolk, 82 Zulu Fox. November 82 Zulu Foxtrot, radar contact, climb maintain 14,000, clear deck, hold flow. 14,000, direct hold flow.
This far north and east, though, we are definitely outside of that Charlie airspace. We're good to go. Let's go ahead and pick up some altitude. I think I found 3,000.
Diamond 72 Foxtrot X-ray, Washington Center, hello.
Now, we do, just in case we are disoriented about our position, we can see that we are indeed nearing that Cape Charles VOR.
November 72 Foxtrot Zoo, unable VFR services, frequency change approved for squawk VFR.
Oh, he just told that guy unable VFR services. Yeah. But even if we weren't sure we were headed toward that Cape Charles, we can kind of see we're on about a 025 or a 030. Yeah, we're headed right up the coast here.
American 455, contact New York Center 125.32.
So we're going to navigate this visually, not really using instruments, and should be good to go. keep it climbing. We'll keep it on up to 3,000 if we can. I'm not sure
254, turn left heading 160.
what this cloud layer is going to do. We might end up leveling it at 2,000. Let's take a peek in the area, see what some of our area briefings are saying. Accomack says 10 statute miles clear. Wallop says 10 statute miles clear. Tangier says 10 statute miles clear. Langley says 10 statute miles, flew at 15,000. So nobody in the area is really reporting this low cloud layer that we're seeing. What's Wallop's? Yeah, 10 statute miles clear.
You're good, it's not your fault.
Alright, so there we are. We're going to kind of just keep it at 2,000 here just because we've got some unreported low clouds in the area. That happens sometimes in this sim. Happens sometimes in the real world, to be honest, but seems like it's pretty prevalent in the sim. Yeah, Skipper Jeff says, nice that the Asobo 152 has a DME. This is the JPLogistics mod of the 152, so it's not the default 152, but it's a very beautifully done mod of the 152 by a group called JPLogistics.
254, do you have an approach request?
Nice, lot of nice new features in this version of the plane.
We can also do good weather. We can also do visual.
He's done a lot of work with the performance characteristics. He's also given it kind of a basic autopilot over here, which I tend not to use. The plane doesn't go fast enough to need an autopilot, but if you need to take a break out of the cockpit, it's not bad to have.
Yeah, 254 approach. Did you have in the car?
And the DME box, like you mentioned.
Excuse me, not 13 ILS.
So,
But we can also do
added some nice features to it for sure. Yeah, this time of year in Maryland, you're lucky to get 7 miles visibility in the humidity and haze. Yeah, amen to that. I'm very, very familiar. Not so much from a piloting standpoint, but definitely driving down the highway. Yeah, I'm going to kind of drop it to 15 here, because just looks like Phantom Cloud Bank is kind of creeping down on us.
JetBlue 360 request meets in their soccer climb, maintain level 330.
Washington Center, American 122 back with you at 10,000, 10,000.
American 5122, Washington Center, radar contact. Sorry about that. We had a control loose power. Climb maintain level 380.
380, 122.
JetBlue 383, soccer climb maintain level 330.
Level up here, 1500. We'll kind of shoot for the little gap in the haze here.
UPS 363, request descent. UPS 363 cross, J-Bow, action class, SO 10,250 knots, Baltimore, altimeter 3000.
Alright, we'll cost SO 10,250 knots, 3000, UPS 363.
JetBlue 383, Washington Center.
Level 320.
American JetBlue 1534, Washington Center, hello. JetBlue 383, Washington Center.
Alright, what we can do. Let's do this. We can keep monitoring him just for the entertainment value. But let's flip the COM 1 to our CTAF, Universal VATSIM CTAF of 122.8. Let's transmit on COM 1, but we'll hit both. So this determines which one you're transmitting. So we're transmitting where it says 22.8, But where we have both pushed in, that means we're monitoring 22.8 and 33.72. So we can still hear what's going on center, but if I key up, I'm not keying up over it. Jet Noise 1971 has hit the follow button. Jet Noise 1971, thanks so much for the follow. Doing a VFR flight from Norfolk. We're heading up the, essentially the Atlantic coast, although I guess right now we're going up the coast, the eastern shore of the Chesapeake Bay. And then we're going to Ocean City, Maryland. Kind of one of my informal home away from home places. Wouldn't say the airport necessarily, but certainly the city.
254, 913, clear to land, wind 17011, gust 21.
Clear to land, 123.
We did did kind of a newbie-oriented tutorial flight earlier this stream. That we intended to do that for both legs. We had a handful of folks join us on the first leg, Raleigh-Durham up to Norfolk. We had one in particular that said he has officially now logged his first ever full VATSIM flight. So kudos to him, and happy to have been able to help him have the confidence to do it. Leg number 2, just heading VFR, like I said, VFR up the coast, and in our case, the Chesapeake coast. We'll show you again the route that we've plotted. Again, it's not, we didn't file anything in the route, we just said VFR northbound. But going up the eastern shore of the Chesapeake Bay, and then it's going to come to this point where we cross just east of the town of Crisfield. There's this section where the coastline kind of makes a radical turn inbound, to radical turn westbound. So the coast generally does this, no, rather this, and then it does this and up. So that's the point where we're going to continue northbound, and we'll look for this this Highway 113 as we continue on up north and east. But really right now, just flying up the coast. Where are we, by the way? See, let's see if we can corroborate our position. We're trying to navigate this purely visually if we can. And we probably are going to bust some VFR cloud minimums here, guys. It's just happens a lot. Hey, we got a nice little rainbow over there, which is kind of cool. That's very nice, actually.
And confirm that was for Brickyard 4549. Brickyard 4549, maintain 250 knots. Maintain 250 knots, Brickyard 4549. Stop at 385, keep the speed up.
Probably.
Speed up, stop at 385.
Probably looking at this tributary here, right here. Well, I mean, we can. Maybe further. Maybe one of these. Let's see if we can get a sense of the... Well, so the coastline continues straight, and we are looking at it flying at about a 020. And then after this little... These couple little peninsulas here, it kind of bends to the right a little bit. So I think that we're looking right here, honestly. So we're right here by Craddockville, if I had to guess. That would also put us, these VOR rings are depicted as 10-mile rings, although it's not an airspace designation, it's just for purposes of determining range. So I think if we are coming up on that little bend right there, where Craddockville is, then if this is 10, then we're probably maybe 10, 11, 12 miles north of that Cape Charles VOR. Let's look and see.
63 contact, Philly approach.
Yep, coming up on 11 miles.
128.4.
So I would say that is exactly where we are.
Yeah, 254 radar contact over Atlantic City.
Jesus says more than 500 below the clouds, you should be good. Yeah, I feel like we're kind of skirting that a little bit, and then of course here we're kind of in a gap. And laterally, you only have to be a third of a mile, 2,000 feet. So who knows? Well, maybe we're okay. But I tend to bust VFR minimums on this channel quite a bit. That's why I generally prefer IFR flying. Even General Aviation, I prefer IFR flying, just because you don't have to worry about it. File a route, fly that route. If you happen to hit some clouds, hit some clouds. Pick a 5 says, yeah, that VOR compass rose being 10 miles is a good tip. Most people don't know that. That is true on most of the regular sectionals. I don't think that holds true on the TAC charts. I can't remember what it is on the TAC charts. It might be 5. We might be able to, if we can play with it here, we might be able to see. Let's just find one out in the out of the clutter. So if we were to just randomly add a point here at Westminster, and then randomly add a point on the corner of that, yeah, it's 5 miles.
Washington Center, American 1608, requesting the lead cockpit for 5 minutes.
So yeah, and that's not, again, that's not an airspace. There's nothing different about being in that ring versus out of that ring. It's depicted that way just purely for purposes of gauging the distance.
Approved. American 301, contact Atlanta Center 132.97.
Connect 301.
Yeah, see these little, got these little patches of haze up ahead that I feel like, you know, we should kind of be avoiding, but, you know, I hate turning a VFR flight into a game of cloud dodgem. That's why General Aviation, you know, I even prefer GA IFR to GA VFR.
Attention all aircraft, Washington Center, be closing in 7 minutes.
We'll be that way. No, it was really cool. Guys, many of you know that I control with the Washington ARTCC on VATSIM, so these guys are all very familiar voices to me. And they were on tonight. I mean, they typically in Washington will staff up on Wednesday nights anyway. But the specific controllers that were on down at Raleigh and Norfolk were there because we asked them to be. For the specific purpose of our group flight tonight, so very gracious of them to oblige us and arrange staffing for Raleigh Tower, Raleigh Approach, Norfolk Approach as we made our way in was staffed, and of course Norfolk Tower was as well. So and then we had center coverage throughout the evening as well. So really do appreciate those guys being on for us tonight, and we'll make sure to send a nice love letter into their Discord as well, like I said, which I'm a part of. Yeah, well, right. Pick a 5 string says no one's going to turn us into the VFAA, right? Indeed. 3010. Yeah, getting VFR into that Potomac Bravo can be impossible at times. Then you file IFR for sure, right? And of course, VATSIM, you know, VATSIM's different because the traffic levels are way different than what we see in the real world. So it's a lot easier to kind of do some stuff GA-wise that you wouldn't have as easy a time doing in the real world. So that's what kind of makes VATSIM fun. Again, you know, VATSIM tries to be as realistic as possible, but there's just certain limitations to that. But the one nice thing is it does give us a little bit more freedom as General Aviation pilots to fly in airspaces that ordinarily would be too clustered with commercial traffic to get into. There you go. El Peru was asking about the Discord. There you go. You got it.
Thank you very much for service. Have a good night.
Go ahead and jump on in there, man. Go ahead and jump on in there.
JetBlue 270 Washington Center.
Washington Center, Southwest 8838, that's going to get higher.
Southwest 8830, climb in, catch your cruise.
Cruise is 370.
Southwest 8830, climb in, maintain follow 370.
Follow 370, Southwest 8830.
Southwest 1534, contact approach 119.7.
Forward approach 119.7, JetBlue 1534. Washington Center, American 1608 is back.
Target 16-0, I'm closing radar service terminated for exchange to advisory approved.
Going to Unicom, American 1608. Bearing 407, closing radar service terminated for exchange advisory approved.
Switching bearing 407.
Alright, there's a little patch of haze there that we're going to fly through. And yeah, we can see ground through it, right? So that means it doesn't count. It's not really there.
1955, citation 06.
That's my rule and I'm sticking to it.
American 5122 contact.
Alright, where are we? How are we doing? Let's see if we can kind of chart our progress as we come northbound. There is this one little peninsula that sticks out a little further than the others. I think that's the one that we're seeing up ahead here. Right here.
.com 501 contact, Newark Approach.
Just west of Parksley and Hopkins.
Delta 385 contact Newark Approach 128.1.
So that's where I suggest I am. And if that's the case, we should also see out to our west, we should see Watts Islands. If we take a peek out that way, yep, I would say that might not be Watts Island, but that might be. Or no, that might be Watts Island there and Tangier Island out to the west there. So, yep, we might be seeing both of those. So I would say high probability we are where we think we are. The land of pleasant living is what it used to be called as I was a kid, says Robert. And of course, Robert, yeah, you're an Eastern Shore resident down there. Like I said, I come visit down that way. I come through Salisbury a lot, mostly on my way to and from Ocean City. But yeah, I'm down that way pretty frequently. I don't remember that ad campaign. That's got to be a while ago. I don't remember that slogan necessarily. Coming north of that peninsula, it looks like we can actually delete that point there. What we really want to do as north of this peninsula is fly. It looks like a 049. Is that what that is? About 050, basically. That's what we're doing. That's pretty much what we're doing there. So what we're gonna do is, yeah, we're gonna kind of cut off this next peninsula up. But then that'll be in that little elbow there that we were talking about earlier. Just past that peninsula.
Closing radar service terminated for exchange to advisory approved.
Over to Unicom 214 Heavy.
Tangier at Washington is closed.
Skipper Jeff is a Harford County resident. Not too far from Martin. Yeah, Martin is what I list on VATSIM as my home airport, actually. Good fixings. Yeah, no, they all bailed. They all we had 6 of us that flew the first leg from Raleigh up to Norfolk, and it's just me by my lonesome heading up to Ocean City. Nice, Jeff. Yeah, I'm actually I guess I live in northern part of Baltimore County. I'm technically in New York Center's airspace, but shh. I guess I'm still under Potomac's airspace, but Potomac Tracon's airspace. But yeah, so Skipper Jeff, just to talk a little local shop. I was born in Towson. We moved out to Edgewood in Harford County when I was 4. And I lived in Edgewood until middle school, and then lived in Jarrettsville through the rest of high school. Although I went to Calvert Hall, and then I moved down to College Park and was kind of hopped around the area. College Park, lived in College Park, lived in Glen Burnie, lived in Columbia while I was going through school, and live up in the northern part of the county, northern part of Baltimore County now. So of course I know Kingsville. Yeah, right on the border, really up the US 1, right kind of on the border, the Hartford to Baltimore County border. Yep, know it well. Know it right up as you head up towards Falston. Know it well. So you're right there by Falston Airport, actually. I've done some virtual flying in and out of there. If you're on the Hartford County side of Kingsville, then yeah, you're right there. You're probably under the approach path, probably under the pattern for Falston Airport. Yeah, now we're... Yeah, Baltimore Air Park was fun when it was open, yeah. Right there, you kind of spit down on the I-95 on final for that one, yep. Yeah, that was sad when it closed. I always liked coming up and down 95 and seeing a plane fly right over the highway. That was sad. Yeah, we're really kind of getting mixed it up with clouds that shouldn't be here. I'm down at 900 feet now, a little lower than one should sanely or safely be. In the real world, all this weather has moved off to the east, but I've come to figure out, I think, that the weather simulation in Microsoft Flight Sim is about an hour delayed, it seems. So we're seeing a cloud bank move through here that was in real life was through here about an hour ago. That's my working theory, at least. All these METAR stations right now are reporting 10 statute miles and clear. I mean, we could try to punch up through and get above it. I don't know. Then that never works out for me. The cloud tops are always much higher than I think they are. So that never really works out for me. We'll give it a try, though. Yeah, we'll allow it, says Skipper Jeff. Yep. I mean, the other thing we could do, you know, we could just put ourselves on an IFR routing. Maybe we'll do that. Because there's no, yeah, Natty Bo made in Baltimore, National Bohemian. Says Robert W. Yep. That's right there, hon, that Natty Bo. He used to sit on the stoop and drink the Natty Bo. Alright, well, I'll tell you what. Here's that little, this is the little river that comes up and out toward Pocomoke City. Yeah, I know that. I'm debating whether I should just press on VFR. I mean, we could. Let's see what I'm going to localize our runway 32. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do yeah, Robert W. says we had a couple storms that came through about 2 hours ago. Yeah, just as we were getting the stream started, it looked like weather was moving through that was going to be well clear by the time we got there. We got a VOR approach as well. Let's see what that VOR approach looks like. VOR Alpha comes off of the Salisbury. Okay, so here's the plan, guys. We are now IFR. We are present position direct Salisbury, and then the VOR Alpha to Ocean City Municipal. Alright, so as we are now, and we're going to maintain, so from Salisbury, what's a safe altitude? 2,100 if we're north and west. Let's maintain 3,000. Let's go, yeah, 3,000, direct Salisbury, 111.2. Alright, so let's 111.2, when we know we're kind of going north and west to it, so we'll spin that around until it centers. Actually, maybe direct due north to it. Oh, really? Okay, more of a 025, I guess. All right, let's spin the heading bug around to 025, and we'll just track inbound. We're 19.6 miles from it. Alright. So we're going to get up to, we're at 2,500 now. We're going to get up to 3,000. So our new flight plan is basically present position, direct Salisbury, and then we're clearing ourselves on the VOR Alpha to Ocean City Municipal. Let's start briefing our approach then. That means we need to, I guess I can do the METAR, but obviously, well, 10 statute miles and few at 65. What does that say? 180 at 5 is the wind, so we'll go with that. So we're planned to land on 20. So we're gonna fly this inbound, and then we're gonna break off and do a right base to 20. Oh, we could have done this from Snow Hill VOR. Well, we were well past Snow Hill VOR already. Anyway, all right, that's fine. Well, I guess, do we have an outside air temperature gauge? I'm not sure we do. Go ahead and turn the pitot heat on. Alright, let's make sure we're maintaining direct. Yeah, we're going to hand fly an IMC too. Yeah, we're going to have all kinds of fun tonight. You thought this was going to be a simple VFR flight, did you? Oh, yeah. Outside air temp, right. Outside air temp gauge is up yonder somewhere. Okay, we don't have to worry about pitot heat then, I guess. Just worried about the electrical load. Yeah, so we're okay. We're okay without the pitot heat. Level at 3. Tracking inbound to Salisbury, 13.8 miles. We're gonna fly this by hand, guys. We don't need no stinking autopilot. Landing lights are on. Now we really need to brief this approach, so we're going to shoot for a right base 20, 111.2, and it's a 108 outbound. So we'll be ready to set that 108. Yeah, Peter Mooney. That route no longer applies. We've cleared ourselves on a pop-up IFR. for reasons called Microsoft weather being Microsoft weather. So 111 to 108. The missed approach frequency and course is 111.2 and 094. So we'll get 111.2 set in the secondary radio as well. One 11.2 and 094. I'm not trying to zoom, I'm trying to spin that knob there, dude. Let's keep the wings as level as we can. So there's a 094 on the nav 2. Alright, so we got the... Alright, we talked about the winds. We talked about the ceiling. We don't really know what the ceiling's going to be. The ceiling's reported at 6,500. We have a feeling it's going to be lower than that. Minimums for the approach, 860, so we'll say 900 round figures. And if we land on 2-0, we want to pretty much roll it to the end and turn off left. And if we go missed, it's 2,000 left turn back to that course that we have set on nav 2. So that completes the approach briefing. We're now 6.8 miles from the VOR where we're going to turn. We're going to turn to a 108. Coming in this way, kind of. So 108 will descend to 2,000, drop to 7.4. Yeah, drop to 7.4. Yeah, drop to 7.4 DME to 2,000. And no procedure turn if we come in from Salisbury. Procedure turn applies if we come in from Snow Hill. So at that point, 108, and we'll follow the vertical guidance here. And 900 are our minimums. I picked up about 250 bonus feet for you guys. That's going to be the Salisbury Airport right there. Should be on about a 030. Of course, we can kind of see a direct path to Salisbury. Yeah, we good fixins. You can't really rely on Microsoft Flight Sim's weather to be. Yeah, it's very realistic, but it sure as heck isn't very accurate. We think these clouds and storms really rolled through about 2 hours ago. We think. You know, this is what's being reported in the area right now. Is a few clouds at 6,500. Salisbury, 10 statute miles and clear. That's certainly not what we're seeing around here. But my working theory is that the weather that we're seeing in Microsoft Flight Sim is delayed by about an hour from real world. That's my working theory. All right, 2 miles from Salisbury VOR, then we're going to turn outbound on a 108. Drop to 2,000 once we get established on that 108. Jeff says, as a new pilot, Ocean City was the only airport I managed to set off the ELT when landing. A nose-heavy sandowner. Yeah, you gotta smack it pretty good to do that, from what I hear. Adds a little more uncertainty to the flights that pick a 5-string, just like real life. You don't really know until you're in the air. That is true. I think as sim pilots, we get lulled into the idea that exactly what's in the MEDAR is exactly what we'll see. That's not always the case. That's true. It's not always this far off, though. Alright, so we're going to set a 108 outbound here. Probably I started the turn a little late. There's 110. We'll back it down 2. Get the heading bug set to 108 just for reference. Could drop to 2,000 once we're established on that 108. I'm kind of losing some altitude in the turn here. But we'll go ahead and we'll come around an extra 30 degrees, and that radial should... Okay, there's the missed approach radial's a 094. That's coming back in already on the nav 2. The nav 1 we should see start to come back in here really soon, though. There it is. Okay, so there's that 108 descending to 2,000 now. Let's go ahead and get some carb heat. We definitely got moisture. We want to make sure we got carb heat as we pull the power out. Okay. Here we go, guys. It is a little early, but since we have commenced the approach, if you want to start putting in predictions in for the descent rate upon touchdown, the closest predictor is going to win an entry into our August 25th raffle. Okay, 2,000 is where we're going to level it off here, guys. You can wait. You can wait until we're passing through 500 feet AGL if you'd like. Or you can put those numbers in now. No bot command necessary. We'll just take a number into the chat, positive or negative, just like you see your colleagues doing. Alright, I'm just going to level it out at 2. And get back over on that radial. Going to hand fly this whole approach, guys. I do apologize for the rest of the way in, guys. I'm probably not going to be too interactive with the chat. Going to have my hands full and my eyeballs full. We're trying to get back on this radial. Whoops. 100 feet low. And we can take 2,000 down to... Let's get back up. Let's get back up on 2,000. 2,000 out to 7.4 DME. And we're kind of getting rocked around a little bit too. I gotta add some up trim because I keep falling. Alright, there we go. Now we can kind of keep the wings level. Gentler corrections. This ought to work okay now. $2,000 until 7.4. And then we can go 1,800 until 13.4. Alright, so we got a little bit of a right correction in to get back on that 108 radial. Let's do a little bit more of a right correction. Alright, we're past Past 7.4, I can now take it down to 1800. Actually, at 13.4, I can be at 1500. Right now, we're supposed to keep it at 1800. All right, lateral adherence is good. We're okay. Altitude's okay. After 13.4 is when we can take it down to our minimums of 900. Let's get a little right correction in. No lower than 1800 for right now. I mean, we are within that, once we are within that protected hold area, we can actually drop it to 1500. So 13.4. So really, think about a 1 minute holding pattern is probably a 1.5 miles deep. So probably at probably at 12 DME, we could take it from 18 to 15. But we'll just wait. We got plenty of time to descend. We'll just wait until 13.4. We'll just drop it to, we'll start dropping it to 900. Ooh, I'm way off heading now. Got my head buried in that chart. Wasn't watching what I was doing. We said 1800 until what now? Until 13.4. Still need to correct left. We're 12.4. So we're within a mile, and you know we are still. So what you ordinarily do is you fly a lap of that hold, and then on the inbound side of that hold, you can come it down to from 1800 to 1500. So we're within the area where we could drop it to 15, but just to be a little extra sure. Okay, then we're back on lateral course. 13.2, 13.3, 13.4. Okay, now we're at the point where we can start taking it down to the minimums. Again, minimums we're going to call 900. It's 860. We're just going to call it 900. Let's get back over on our lateral guidance. Start reducing speed. Do have a little carb heat in. (18, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18). Ocean City traffic. Cessna 514 Delta Victor's VOR Alpha, about 5 miles west of the field. 1,500. We're going to do a right base runway 20 Ocean City. I think we've got it in sight, guys. I think we're okay here. Let's fly it by the numbers anyway. We'll take it down to 1,000 since that'll be effectively our pattern altitude. Don't forget, guys, those predictions. I know a bunch of you got them in already, but last call for predictions is going to be 500 AGL. Really, if they get into the stream chat before the wheels touch, that counts. But I want to account for that buffering delay, so you probably need to be typing no later than about 500 AGL. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and start the circle for 2-0 here, guys. Get that first notch of flaps in. Ocean City traffic, Cessna 514 Delta Victor's VOR Alpha. We're going to start our circling maneuver right downwind to base for runway 20 Ocean City. And basically we're going to just square it off on the downwind and then basically immediately turn base. Second notch of flaps comes in. Is that a mandatory? You know, it's a VOR Alpha, so you're circling no matter what you're doing. The VOR Alpha kind of was coming in straightish in for 1-4. I'm circling to 2-0 because winds were more favorable for it. Whoops. But no, there's no specific guidance in the approach procedure for what you can and can't circle. So there we are on our right base. Ocean City traffic, Cessna 514 Delta Victor turning right base to final now, runway 20 Ocean City. Again, we're going to roll long and go left. Final notch of flaps is in. Carb heat's in. Landing lights are on. No one's home. Gonna aim for 50. Last call is 100 feet away. Last call for those predictions, guys. Mix is full rich. Again, roll it long and go left if we land. And a climbing left to 2000 back to the NAV2 radial there off of Salisbury if we do need to go missed. Let's watch the speed. I know I tend to get slow in this plane, so we're going to try and combat that. Alright, flaps are fully set and checked. Landing lights are on. Landing clearance received. Yeah, a little bit of a kisser there. I was pleased with it. Let's get the RPMs back up to 1,000. We'll talk about that winning number in just a moment, guys. Yeah, are we down? I wasn't sure myself. Yeah, well, Robert says, yeah, we need to get an advertisement banner, go buzz the beach. Yeah, no, actually, the banner planes fly out of a private grass strip. I don't know exactly where it is, but it's not here. My uncle used to do that. Alright, clear the runway. We'll get, Ocean City traffic, Cessna 514 Delta Victor, clear runway to Ocean City. Get the flaps in. Taxi lights are on, landing lights are off. Strobe lights are off. Heat to heat, yeah, okay, we left that off. It's outside of Berlin, about 7 miles west, yeah. Yeah, that's about where I knew it to be, but I don't know the name of it. I went looking for it one day and never found it. Skipper Jeff was asking about my power setting on short final. Was I over revving it? Yeah, I don't know this aircraft well enough to know like what the prescribed power settings are for approach. I just basically go by the speed and the pitch. But yeah, no, my power settings were probably all over the place. Ocean City traffic, Cessna 514 Delta Victor crossing 1432. Ocean City. No traffic. No traffic, as far as we can tell. Ocean City traffic, Cessna 514 Delta Victor, clear all runways. Ocean City. Usually 1700, 60 to 65 on final, and then 55 to 60. Yeah, so I was, yeah, I don't know the ref speeds in this aircraft like I should. I'm starting to fly it more often, so I probably will try and brush up on those. Gotcha. So because I was so slow, I needed the extra power. Gotcha. Yeah, I didn't really know. I was kind of shooting for 50. I don't really know the ref speeds, but those are good tips, guys. Since I'm probably going to be flying this plane more often. Really starting to fall in love with it, so I'll certainly check on those and appreciate the tips, guys. Oh, and we don't normally use full flaps. Okay. Fair enough. Well, that's another reason why I needed an extra power then. So that all makes sense. Now that y'all are saying that, it all makes sense. But that's cool though. That's good to know. All right, guys. Well, let's talk about the winning number. The winning entry into next week's raffle, August 25th raffle, landing rate raffle, is the person who guessed closest to 56. We picked the right runway because we had a 5-knot, almost dead-on headwind there. So, who had closest to 56? Oops, I'm not trying to zoom. I'm trying to scroll the chat here. Let's run back through the numbers that we got. 121. 45 was P-Bowl. 69 Peter Mooney. 50, okay, 50 from Red Warhawk. 55 from Jose Canseco. I think it's going to be Jose Canseco, guys. Jose Canseco has hit another home run. Yeah, there you go, guys. What was the actual? The actual was 56. Yeah, so Jose Canseco off by 1. Oh, if he had been 1, If I had done 1 foot per minute lighter, he would get 2 entries for hitting it dead on. Jose Canseco gets his entry into our landing rate raffle. Jose, we're going to pull that winner a week. 1 week from today. And what is your actual full Twitch handle? I want to get it right because I don't think you're on our Discord. Jose Canseco double niner. KOXB on 8/18. There you go. All right, cool. Jose Canseco, there is your entry into the second Magic Fishbowl. And we're going to pull those, both our Twitch Alphabets points winner and our landing rate winner 1 week from today, guys. 1 week from today, we're going to be on to the VATSIM scopes, working the air traffic control on the VATSIM network. Don't know exactly where yet. It's going to kind of first come, first serve on Wednesdays. So we'll jump on whatever delivery ground or tower position looks fun and busy, and then we'll pull a couple of winners toward the end of that stream. All right, very good. Let's kind of wrap up the shutdown here of the aircraft. You know what? I'm going to take some notes real quick, guys. Right over here on my checklist with those numbers that you were talking about: 1700, 60, 55. Hang on, guys. Just add these into my little checklist for future reference. Love it. Love the advice, guys. Appreciate it. All right, very cool. Let's finish up the shutdown of the plane. Did we get the taxi light off? Nope, we didn't do that. We can do that now. There we go. Parking brake was set. The transponder is already in 1200. We can actually just go ahead and shut that off, to be honest. Elevator trim can be reset. Flaps were stowed indeed. Elevator trim could be reset. There we go. Flaps were stowed, and we said the ETA here was 1024 on block. I'm sorry, 1024 on the ground, 1029 on block. We were a couple of minutes late, but that's probably because we had to divert out to Salisbury to join that approach. So that's not too bad. The prediction's not too bad. And we're supposed to have 35 pounds left in the tank. And what did we have? We had an extra 23 pounds. So we're going to say 50. We're going to say 58 is as our fuel right now. And we're at 50. Okay. Very good. So there you go. We used yeah, and we burnt almost a quarter hour extra because of the approach. All right, yep. So that all makes sense. I think those numbers are pretty close. If you want to see how I come up with those, I got a tutorial over on the YouTube channel, bottom left. The link at the bottom left is your link to the YouTube channel. A bunch of tutorials over there that you can check out, and one of them is for estimating flight time and fuel. So go ahead and look at that if you want to know how to come up with those numbers. All right, that's finish shutting down the aircraft, guys. We're going to go ahead and get the radios and the DME box off. I think that's okay. We got the ADF box over there off as well, so all the avionics are off, I think. Not sure if that autopilot has an off switch. We can check. Yeah, I don't see that it has an off switch. It's as off as it's going to get. That'll work. That's fine. Let's see. What else? Transponder we already did. Throttle's closed. We would ordinarily blip the mag switch just to make sure that it does indeed kill power to the engines, just so you're assured that you're not sitting on the ramp with live mags, but we don't want it to bring up that stupid logbook and kill our engine, so we'll just pretend that we've blipped the mag switch, and that does indeed make the engine sputter there for a second, so we'll say that we've done that. Let's go ahead and pull the mix now and kill the engines the traditional way. Watch the propeller wind to a stop. And now we can shut off the mags for real. And the fuel selector down here, shut that back up. Where'd it go? There we are, fuel selector. Okie doke. Well, all scheduled descent stopping in right at the last second. Appreciate you being here. Just watching a shutdown of 152. Good to see you back here. Yeah, pick a 5-string. Says for Jose Canseco, I want to see a clean drug test before he's awarded that entry. Yeah, I know. For a guy who spent so many years murdering Orioles pitching, I don't know if I Maybe this entry will get misplaced somehow. Okay, all right. Well, we'll put an asterisk on it. That's what we'll do. All right, what else? We got the mix cut off, fuel selector off, magnetos off, nav and beacon lights can get shut off there. There we go. Alternator off and battery, and then we'll go ahead and yeah, we kind of could have popped the windows open on taxi in, but there we are. We'll go ahead and pop out of the plane. So yeah, and this is who I forget who was asking earlier about the DME box being in here. The doors and window animation is also something that JPLogistics has added to this plane. So so yeah, they've done a really nice job of really modding this plane and making it even more of a joy to fly than the defaults. So there you go. There's your nice closing shot there at Ocean City Municipal. Yeah, Good Fixin' says, in his defense, I think everyone was murdering Orioles pitching during those years. And yeah, and they are now, too. So, some things never change. Alright, guys. Alright, well, we appreciate you being here. Let's, yeah, pick a 5-string. Says, nice flight and thanks for the stream. Absolutely, yeah. Glad that those who flew along on the first leg really appreciate you doing that. And especially, like I said, the one gentleman, or a couple of gentlemen who said that it was their first full VATSIM flights, at least one, maybe two, that said it was their very first full VATSIM flight. So hope that you, you know, got some good experience out of it and will gain enough confidence to come back and try it again. As we flew, we did an IFR flight from Raleigh to Norfolk. We did a VFR flight from Norfolk up to Ocean City, Maryland, and I wound up having to kind of clear ourselves on a pop-up IFR to get the rest of the way in, as the Microsoft weather just kind of isn't caught up with reality. In a little bit of a weather time warp, I think we are in this sim, guys. I think that's the deal. So consider that going forward, guys, as you look at what live weather brings you in Microsoft Flight Sim, and you notice that it's inaccurate to real-world conditions. Look at what real-world conditions were 1 to 2 hours ago and see how it compares to that. That's my current working theory, is that the model is just off by about an hour, maybe a little more. So continue to kind of keep that in mind and report back with your findings as to whether you think that might be kind of what's going on here. All right, well, let's talk about the stream. Those of you who are new, we appreciate you stopping in. Hope that you'll stop back and see us again. We typically stream for you Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, 2300 Zulu Time. We do change that schedule up every now and then when there's some certain special VATSIM events and other stuff going on that we want to change our things around for, personal obligations here and there, work obligations here and there. But we do post that full show schedule there underneath the About tab here on the Twitch picture window. We can also find that full show schedule on our Discord or on our Facebook. The Facebook and Twitter links at the bottom of the screen. If you want to know what's coming up on the show short term, follow us on either of those, and we always kind of let you get you a heads up as to what's coming up on the stream. In the near term, those full show schedules published where all those 3 places that I just told you, you can check that out. If you want to jump in on our Discord server, links on the lower right-hand corner of the screen. If there was stuff that I missed in the chat as I was hand-flying that approach, guys, certainly if you had questions that I didn't answer, please feel free to pop over into the Discord and discuss. Or if the couple of guys that were giving me some great tips for flying the 152, like I said, I probably want to start flying it more often. So I certainly want to get a little bit more practiced and refined in my technique in the 152. So I do appreciate you popping over there, maybe in that Discord, giving me some tips. And yeah, appreciate all your advice tonight, and would be happy to have you over there on that Discord part of the community. Again, if you want to just pop over there and shoot the breeze, kind of keep the chat going 24/7, that's absolutely fine as well. Yeah, Good Fixin' says, you know what they say, you lose some, you lose some. Yeah, in Baltimore you do, that's for sure. Just wait, football season's almost here, guys. All right, well, anyway, coming up on the show, the next couple of streams that we have in store for you, as I pull up the show schedule, tonight was the 18th. Yeah, so Friday we are hoping to get back in that KRDU Mooney Ovation if the fuel selector issue is fixed, and even if it's not, we may just kind of fudge it and make it work for us. We'll do some Bravo buzzing. I don't think there is a published Friday Night Ops event on VAT USA this coming Friday. But we can certainly find some air traffic control coverage somewhere where there's a Bravo up and running, and we'll do some Bravo buzzing. We'll fly in and out of some of the satellite fields. I know the controllers often enjoy that kind of challenge of working with VFR and General Aviation IFR traffic in and amongst their commercial flows. So we'll get up and do some Bravo buzzing on Friday in that KRDU-Mooney Ovation. One way or another, we'll make it work. So that'll be Friday night, 2 nights from now. Monday, we return to the Boston Virtual ARTCC Wings Over New England training flights. It's a series of flights that the Boston ARTCC on VATSIM publishes. 6 VFR and 24 IFR training flights that are all pretty much self-study. They post the training material on the website. You read through, you refer to the charts and procedures and resources that they point you to, and then you get on when they have air traffic control coverage on and perform the flight, and the controller will evaluate your performance by watching your track on their scope, and they'll let you know if you've passed or failed. And we've been progressing our way through that series. We are resuming with IFR number 14 and IFR number 15. Now, those are two that specifically are geared toward jet aviation, general aviation, general jet aviation. So we're going to be flying that working title mod of the Citation CJ4 here in Microsoft Flight Sim 2020 on Monday, flying IFR number 14 from Bedford to Burlington with an RNAV route and an RNAV approach. So we're going to be a very rare RNAV night here on the channel. And then IFR 15 takes us from Burlington to Syracuse with the RNP approach. So again, some things that you don't see on this channel. Slant Alpha, by the way, means that we focus on radio navigation only. That old school VOR tracking and NDB approaches and all that stuff that doesn't involve a GPS, that doesn't involve an FMC. So Monday's going to kind of be a little bit of a deviation from the channel theme, but should be a good show for you. And we love that working title mod for the Citation CJ4. Citation CJ4 is a nice little vintage business jet, kind of an 80s feel. Although CJ4 technically is a little bit newer vintage, but the whole Citation series just has that kind of 80s vintage feel to it. And so I do enjoy, like, if I'm going to deviate from the non-RNAV theme of the channel, that's a nice little jet to do it in, because it still kind of has that retro feel to it. So we'll check that out on Monday the 23rd. Again, that full show schedule underneath the About tab or over on our Discord or Facebook if you want to check that out. All right, guys, I think the last thing to mention is the YouTube channel. We did mention the tutorials and such over there. So go over and find that link on the bottom left-hand side of your screen. Hit the VATSIM playlists up. You'll notice there's a tutorial for what to say to air traffic control or how to put together IFR or VFR routes. And you'll notice that those are all geared toward the flights that we did tonight, because they were based on an earlier version of this event that we did about 1.5 years ago, when I put those tutorials together and posted them up to the channel. So tonight was kind of a reduxo of that, and so hope that you all enjoyed and had a good time. We appreciate you all stopping by. All right, that's going to do it for me, guys. So on Friday, from as yet undetermined location, we will resume our adventures. Please feel free to stick around. We are going to send you over to. We're gonna find some. Oh, we got a lot of fun folks to send you over to. We got one that we haven't talked to in quite a while, so I think we are gonna send you to Mr. Cleared Approach. He tonight is working VATSIM air traffic control in the Atlanta area. I can't tell if he's working approach or center. I think he's working Atlanta Approach right now, is what it looks like. No, it might be Atlanta Center, in fact. But we're gonna send you over to him, and he's a great resource, by the way, again, for those of you who are considering getting on the VATSIM network and have questions about how it works. He's a great resource. He is a real-world controller in the Fort Worth area, but a VATSIM controller in many, many areas, and primarily in Atlanta. So if you want to go pick his brain about how VATSIM works and what to say to controllers and what does this mean, what does that mean, he loves explaining and teaching as much as I do. So good one to watch. We've got a good selection of our favorite Flight Sim streamers on tonight, but I don't think we've sent a raid over to Cleared Approach in quite a while, so we'll go ahead and do that. So stick around for him, guys. In the meantime, have a great rest of your week. We will see you Friday. We'll figure out where we're going to start up, or once we see what the coverage looks like on VATSIM, we'll figure out where we're going to start up, and we'll shoot some messages out on Facebook, Twitter, and Discord to let you know. But until then, be healthy and safe in your own travels and your own adventures. Appreciate you being with us. Take care, guys. Talk to you soon.